Good morning, everyone. Maayong buntag, Kapalong East District. All right, so welcome to the day 2 of our district training of teachers on learning management system here in Kapalong East District. I hope you are all having a good time in the second day of our training. So excited kayo no? Isa na namang mapagpalang umaga ngayong araw sapagkat marami na naman tayong matututunan sa ating or sa learning management system. All right? So the assigned MOL this morning or this day in the day 2 of our training on teachers is no less than Maniki Central Elementary School SPED Center. So palakpakan natin ang Maniki Central. Sila po yung nag-prepare on today's management of learning. Thank you so much, Maniki Central Elementary School SPED Center. Once again, I am going to remind you kung sino po yung magre-recap later in the afternoon session. So it is being I already said in the day 2 of the recapitulation, it would be Vislumino Y. Tamundong Elementary School in the afternoon. So kayo po ang magre-recap kung ano ang mga inputs na ating nakuha sa webinar this morning. On the third day, in the afternoon session, it would be Patel Elementary School. And the fourth day, Marcos Isoque Elementary School. And the last day, Langan Elementary School. Again, mamayang afternoon, Vislumino Y. Tamundong. I know ready na kayo sa inyong recap? Or nagre-ready na ang na-assign na mag-recap para sa ating learning this morning. Next would be Patel Elementary School, Marcos Estoque Elementary School, and Langan Elementary School. All right, so another attendance link will flash on screen, but again, it is not yet open. So it is already available. Please flash on screen our attendance link for the day 2 a.m. attendance. So this is the link found down below. Day 2 a.m. attendance. It is already available but not yet open. And also our evaluation link. Please flash on screen our evaluation link for this day. All right. Day 2 evaluation. So ready na jud kaayo no ang ato ang mga maestrag-maestro para na pod sa ilahang mga evaluation, already na kayo na ilahang mga words of wisdom na ilahang ipang share. Nya mabasa sa ato ang PWG. Daghan kayong salamat sa mga very participative na mga teachers of Kapalong East District, elementary and secondary. All right, so of course we are going to extend more our celebration online. So we are going to, whenever we post pictures in social media, in Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, don't forget to include our official hashtag for this morning. And I mean, for the 5th or 5-day of training, and that is hashtag CapEastLMS and hashtag Sulong CapEast. Again, whenever you post pictures in Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, don't forget to include our official hashtag. This would be our official hashtag for the 5-day training. So hashtag CapEastLMS and hashtag Sulong CapEast. All right, so kung gusto kong mag-post mo picture ha, ayo jud ninyo ni kalimti ang atuang official hashtag. All right. So I bet andam latang tanan maminaw. Gwapo kaayo ang atuang panahon. O gwapo pud kay itong internet connection. Feel jud na ako karon na. Gwapo jud kay itong internet connection karon kay murag naka-recharge na ni. All right. So I hope you're all having a good time and ready to again gain a lot of information. So at this juncture, let us proceed to the training proper.
Dakilang lahi, nasa iyong tanging pag-ibig ko, inang bayan. Isinumpa ko, o Pilipino, gagaling ang sugat ng iyong nakaraan. Nang pahiran ko luha ng iyong puso ay natayo. Muli ang karangalan mo, o ang pag-ibig ko'y sa'yo, inang bayan. Ikaw ang siyang dalangin ko sa Diyos kailan pa man. Kuminang ng iyong bituin at sumikat ng araw. Ang kalayaan mo'y sinisigaw. Ang bukas ay tanging sa'yo nakalaan. Kayo manggi ang kulay mo, dugo't pawis hinagay mo, di ka na maapi. Ngayon o kailanman, pag-ibig ko'y sa'yo, inang bayan. Dakilang bayan, kapayapaan, iyo'y muli nang nakamtan. Tulad nung araw, bago inagaw, ang kayamanan mo, ang iyong kalayaan. Nang pahiran ko, luha ng iyong puso ay natayo. Muli ang karangalan mo, o ang pag-ibig ko'y sa'yo, inang bayan. Ikaw ang siyang dalangin ko sa Diyos kailan pa man. Kuminang ng iyong bituin at sumikat na araw. Ang kalayaan mo'y sinisigaw. Ang bukas ay tanging sa'yo nakalaan. Kayo manggi ang kulay mo, dugo't pawis sinangay mo, di ka na maapi. Ngayon o kailanman, pag-ibig ko'y sa'yo, inang bayan. Kahit na gaano kaliit ang dinig ko, buong lakas akong magtatanggol sa'yo. Ang del Norte, lalawigan namin sinisinta. Sagana sa mga kalikasan, magagandang kabukiran. Magsasaka negosyo pagpipila, ang aming pangamahalan. Mamamaya'y maligaya sa dakilang lalawigan. Gobyerno pribado seryoso, nagkakaisa sa paglutas ng problema. Mga tao'y laging nagtutulungan, nangungunan ang aming bayan. Kapayapaan ang aming lipunan, ang siyang hangarin ng lahat. Mamamaya'y maligaya sa dakilang lalawigan. Dahil sa biyaya ng magandang kalikasan, kami nagkakaisa na dumakilang bansa. Lakas ng aming buhay sa bayan ay ibibigay. Manatiling maglilingkod, magpahanggang sa libingan. Dahil sa biyaya ng magandang kalikasan, kami nagkakaisa na dumakilang bansa. Lakas ng aming buhay sa bayan ay ibibigay. Manatiling maglilingkod, Davao del Norte,
A pleasant morning to our teacher participants and viewers of Kapalong East District. So I was given a task to give you the recap of yesterday's webinar. The webinar took place with preliminaries and formal opening of our public schools district supervisor, Sir Marlon G. Ebrado, followed by the introduction of participants by Ma'am Christine A. Ibanez. We listened to our CID Chief, Sir Edward Amugis, our ASDS, Dr. Romel Handayan, and to our CID Chief Region 11, Dr. Janet Veloso, as she introduced our keynote speaker, Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction in the Central Office, Honorable Diosdado San Antonio. After that, pinanood din natin ang isang inspirational audio-visual presentation of the new normal classroom from Navota City at Dagat-Dagatan Elementary School, kung saan ipinakita nila ang highlights in facilitating learning through distance learning process. Ang ating pang-ubagang session kahapon ay nagsimula sa common topics ng DepEd and embracing DepEd vision, mission, and core values na ipinaliwanag sa atin ng ating EPS, HRRD DepEd Region 11, Dr. Danny M. Kanda, kung saan binigyang diin niya ang challenging role ng isang guro on how to guide our children, to nurture that vision into the heart of our learners, and to strive hard not just for our profession but also as our vocation and mission as well. Right after that, isa na namang audiovisual presentation mula sa pinamuno San Isidro ang ating natunghayan, ang kanilang ALS, True Paaralan Radio-Based Instruction. Kinahapon ng sesyon, tayo ay naliwanagan tungkol sa LMS dahil sa super bibong pagpapaliwanag ni Sir Bayani Iscoton sa tamang paggamit nito. At nagtapos nga ang isang araw ng ating webinar na may karagdagang kaalaman na siyang ating magagamit upang mapabuti hindi lang ang ating sarili, kundi pati na rin ang sa ating mga estudyante. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, Maniki Central Elementary School, SPED Center for the Management of Learning. Very smooth kaayong itong flow this morning. So thank you so much, Maniki Central Elementary School. So at this time, before we are going to proceed to our webinar proper, let's have first, or galaw-galaw muna tayo. So, maaring inaanyayahan ko po ang lahat na tumayo muna sa kanilang kinauupuan at tayo'y tayo'y sasayaw. So, hello teachers. Pwede tayong tumayo sa ating mapating bahay, mapating paaralan. Tayo na nakatutok sa ating mga telepono or ating mga computer or laptop. So tayo po ay magkakaroon ng isang galaw-galaw na galaw-galaw ngayong umaga. So alright, so controller. Lahat po tayo.
This is the mix of DJ Sound System.
Alright. Na-relax na ba tayo? Na-relax na ba ang ating mga katawan? At ease na tayo in joining our webinar this morning. Kahibalo ko ready na tang tanan, no? Kay at least na inat-inat na po ng atong mga kabukugan karong buntaga kay muraga Uy na pudning nilingkuray. So kailangan galaw-galaw din pag may time. All right. So I'm going to or our technical team would now flash on screen our attendance for this morning, the day 2 attendance link. And it is now officially open. And it will be closed in 10, 9. Joke lang. So, it will be closed later pa. Kamo no? Gipa kulba lang ganit na mo. So, our attendance for day 2 is officially open. So, andam na. Kuhita na imuhang mga Huiton dyan, no? I-PM ng inyuhang mga kaubanan na, uy, open na ang atuang ginahulat karong buntaga. Pag human sa attendance, nag-out. Joke lang. Alright, so attendance already open for the day 2 LMS training. Thank you so much our very maabti ko na mga controllers this morning, and of course our internet connection, nakikiayon talaga ang ating internet connection. Palakpakan natin ang Alright, PLDT ng Kapalong National High School. Thank you so much, Mama Reen, for letting us set up our technical team here in your school. Alright, so at this juncture, before proceeding, I'm going to remind you again on including our official hashtag. When you comment in our live stream in YouTube, don't forget to include our official hashtag and use our official hashtag for this morning, CapEats LMS and hashtag Sulong CapEats. And also, whenever we post pictures in social media, ato apo ning i-appeal. So dili lang sa live stream sa YouTube, we can also use our official hashtag for this 5-day training whenever you post pictures in Facebook, Instagram or Twitter. So pang ano ni siya, weekly accomplishment report, no? Sa dili na tamag ngita-ngita sa ato ang mga cellphone kung asa na to, nag-unsa ko karong atong adlaw na ana sa Facebook. Naka-post na. All right. So without further ado, let us now proceed to the rationale and overview of MELC by no less than CLMD Chief of DepEd Region 11, Dr. Janet J. Veloso.
So my presentation today is actually a bit comprehensive. Now, for all you know, DepEd Region 11 during this global pandemic is revolutionary as it remains forward thinking in carrying out its mandate under the framework of Sulong Edukalidad. It continues to navigate diversified interventions and strategies to sustain delivery of quality, accessible, relevant, and liberating basic education. Thus, I teach on the region as a comprehensive-led learning continuity plan is hopeful for that, and you will know what is it. Now, the presentation outline in today's journey about the most essential learning competencies, we are going to have a glimpse on the region's context, leading to our support or our commitment for the K to 12 most essential learning competencies. Second, as to our framework of the region, as to our learning continuity plan. And another is for us to look into deeper. And this will be walked through in a form of walkthrough by the respective learning area experts on K to 12 most essential learning competencies. And the last is where we are heading, our way forward. Now, before the COVID-19 pandemic has come into picture, if we look at Davao region, each year we are baffled by many disasters, and these have a major impact on learners and education systems. Be it in a smaller or bigger scale, learners are generally out of school for some period of time due to disasters. That the impact on the education to learners, all of these existing challenges have damaged certain damage to education infrastructure. Not only that, often live many children in need of critical education support, and I'm talking about learners with special needs. They are left helpless and ensuring the long-term or longer-term development. And so, now that we are in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic, which poses challenges to all various sectors in DepEd, not only that, and DepEd is one that has to really change its landscape of operation in order to become viable in this trying time. And so we are very thankful for DepEd Region 11 to make it responsive that in this global pandemic, we have our ITIPs, integrating technology, academic community, and the household, ensuring that every learner in DepEd Region 11 is safe and protected anytime, anywhere. And not only that, DepEd Region 11, as it integrates technology, academic community, and household, and guided by the DepEd's vision and core values, pushes its 12 goals under the Learning Continuity Plan. And this is ensuring learning continuity through the K-12 basic education curriculum. Adjustments, alignment, learning materials, deployment of multiple learning delivery modalities, provision of corresponding training to teachers and school leaders, and proper orientation of parents or to our community leaders. We embedded all this as mechanism in our learning continuity plan. And that, if we look at DepEd Region 11's learning continuity plan, we have one, determine the context of the learner and their families. Second, develop and establish a contextualized hybrid learning management system, and that is our learning management system for every school every division, and every learner or every household will have. Enhanced preparation of learners in meeting the K-12 basic education program standards and competencies under the most essential learning competencies. And fourth, map out all materials necessary for the delivery of the lessons vis-a-vis the MELT. And fifth, develop self-learning materials that are aligned with the MELT. And sixth, facilitate conversion of self-learning materials or our self-learning modules into ebook, into our interactive video lessons, radio scripts, and TV-based scripts or episodes ready for the different modalities. And next to that, we have to utilize our ICT in the management, communication, accreditation, and supervision of private schools and delivery of support and resources in all field offices. Provide necessary retooling and upskilling strategies to all personnel in all governance. And I'm talking to this that not only in the school level, but also in the division and the region, that we are going to provide or capacitate our key personnel. Ninth, orient parents and learners on the different modalities and learning on significant, and especially on their significant role as parents for being facilitators of learning. Strengthen partnership of key players to ensure delivery of all learning modalities in schools and collaboration in all governance. 11th, protect the well-being of the learners, our teaching and non-teaching personnel, and education leaders by ensuring a safe and conducive learning and working spaces or environment. And finally, we need still to celebrate success and also reward our key players and partners for the effort under the framework or for the delivery of quality service for sulong edukalidad. And we capture all this in our framework of the ITIDs. And I'd like to each one to look into the effort of the region that is now we are doing the upskilling of teachers. And on the aspect or in the aspect of capacity building to teachers and school leaders, the region has to ensure that all teachers are not only strengthened to become resilient, adaptable, or able to manage resource and technology literacy or technological literacy, but most specifically on the main concern on the delivery of the K-12 basic education. And that it is therefore the primary goal of the region to orient you teachers and our education leaders on the most essential learning competencies and able to let you or appreciate the milks as we are now. If we look at our calendar, we are in a shortened period because barely each quarter we are going to have 8 weeks. So with that, we are ensuring that the most essential learning competencies are delivered to our respective clientele and our learners. And under that, imbibed with the philosophy and principles, as well as the pillars of sulong edukalidad, it is hoped that teachers will be able to respond And it is you, our trainers now, who is going to set that one into motion to the goals of the K-12 basic education program. And if we look at our K-12 um, most essential learning competencies, we have as our overarching, or shall we say, impression that the MILKS is not a new curriculum. It is not a departure from the K-12 curriculum. And that the standards in terms of the content and performance standards are retained, and that our MELs are focused on the attainment of 21st century skills. The codes and tagged materials are retained for the merged and retained competencies. And that all learning areas will still be taught. And that the MELs are aligned with the Sulong Educalidad framework. Another thing that we should know, that if we look at the desirable learning competencies, and so with the essential learning competencies, the DLCs, or the desirable learning competencies, are those that what may enhance education but may not be necessary in building foundational skills. And that the essential one are those that our students need. And these are indispensable. And that in terms of, if we look at the teaching learning process, this equip learners for subsequent grade levels, or consequently for building the skills in subsequent grade levels, or for lifelong learning. And so this is how, or these are the things that our DepEd Central Office and our field offices look at it. Now, for the characteristics of essential learning competencies, these are the things that we should know, that it is aligned with the national and state and local standards, and that it connects the content to higher concepts across content areas. It is applicable to real life situations, and that in general, these are important as it is very essential, not only for our learners, but also it has something to do with the real learning in the community or in the real world. It is underscored specifically that we are looking at it, that if we talk about the most essential learning competencies, these are enduring competencies. And that if we look at endurance, this gives us a view that a learning competency is considered enduring, because this is one aspect that really put premium, that if it is enduring, it remains with the learners long after a test or unit of study is completed, or if it is useful beyond a single test or unit study. That's how we look at it. So, in the consideration of the most essential learning competencies, this is one great aspect that we look at. And that later, when the different learning areas will be sharing to you or with you all the unpacking, or shall we say, all the milk from kindergarten to the different learning areas, you will get to know better from the K to 12 curriculum guides that we have, and then the essential learning competencies, and then later to the most essential learning competencies. And you will appreciate on that, on how the process was being, um, or the process of identifying the milk. It is not just identifying it because we just consider it in that way, but it goes with the process. And so the different learning area supervisors will walk through on with you on that, and so you will appreciate on the effort of our experts, and specifically the entire strand of the office of the curriculum or undersecretary for curriculum and instruction, particularly our Bureau of Curriculum and Development, that it has, or that they, everybody has really considered all or many things from the uh, review of the curriculum guide, and then move to the consideration of the essential learning competencies to the most essential learning competencies. Next, from the learning competencies before, from I believe a total of more than 10,000 learning competencies, and it is now reduced to more than 4,000 competencies. So the process is not just easy. And so these are the things that we have considered. And then next to that, we have the mapping of the essential and desirable competencies that were mentioned a while back, and then the identifying of the prerequisite knowledge and skills within the learning area or the different learning area, and then it passes also analysis of interconnectedness of prerequisite knowledge and skills among learning competencies across learning areas. And then, yes, I have dwelled on this as to the essential learning competencies to milks. And so it's fitting that we need to know more about this through the walkthrough that you will be having, and that the consideration that the most determining factor na talagang tandaan natin is that we have the endurance, no, as the determining factor. That once that certain competency remains with the learner long after a test of a unit or unit of study is completed, and if this competency is useful beyond a single test or unit of study, then that is considered for the most essential learning competency. And that another thing that we need to be aware of, that well, it's true that they go with the process of mapping the competency, identifying the prerequisite or analysis, but more so that they considered that there are those that they have retained, there are competencies that have been merged, and there are those that have been rephrased, and there are those that have been dropped. So that's how the process is what we consider tedious and daunting tasks. And so finally, for our region, we map out the available learning competencies. Because of that, because this is how populate populate the given most essential learning competencies with all the identified or the existing available resource that we have, because we want the teacher now to really know what are the things or what are these learning resource available in your respective divisions, available in your respective schools that are already quality assured, and even those that are for quality assurance process, but are closely and can be used in the delivery of the most essential learning competencies. We are doing such because these are data and these are vital information for you teachers to be able to make sure that you have ample available learning resource once you are going and once we open the school year 2020-2021. And finally, as our way forward, we hope that each one will continue, especially our writers and developers of the self-learning modules, for the quality assurance of the learning modules, and the establishment of monitoring and evaluation of the online training model. And this is the one that we are talking about, our training, because we do not want that all of us will just be listening to the training or webinars, but more so that we are going to make sure that all the things that we are heading for are really delivered well, and not only that, we are equipped for the school year 2020-2021. And we would like each of you now to catch sight of our collaboration, the collaboration of all offices in all governance, starting from schools, your schools division offices, and the region, and so with the central office, because we believe now that we journey together, that only learning together of the kind of environment that we have now, and we come together as we open for the school year 2021 for the delivery of quality basic education and ensuring that each learner is safe and protected while they continue their education in this new normal. God bless everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Janet Veloso of the CLMD of DepEd Region 11. Ayun po, nakasama po natin kahapon ng live si Dr. Jan, and we are so honored to have her with us again today on the second day of our training on LMS. And again, to all our teacher participants right now, please do not hesitate to type in your comments in our comment section under this video broadcast, because we will be entertaining your questions po later in our open forum, kung saan live po natin makakasama ang ating mga division education program supervisor. Ayun. So sana po ay may natutunan tayo sa rationale and overview na ibinigay sa atin ni Dr. Jan. And this time, let us move on to a more detailed presentation as we are about to walk the most essential learning competencies by learning area. And even if the learning area that is presenting its most essential learning competencies is not where you belong, we highly request all our participants to still watch and listen attentively to the discussion. Because one way or another, whatever that we allow ourselves to be knowledgeable about will be of great help for us in the future. Magagamit nyo pa rin po ang mga matututunan ninyo about the maps from other learning areas. So wag na nating patagalin pa. First, to give us a walkthrough with the most essential learning competencies is the kindergarten learning area. And joining us today to present the kindergarten now is the Region 11 Education Program Supervisor and LRMS Manager, Dr. Annalisa C. Almazan.
Origin, my courtesy to the Department of Education officials, of course to the Regional Director of Region 11, to ARD, to the different chiefs of the functional divisions, the superintendents of the 11 school division offices, of course with the assistant school division superintendents, the CID chief, to all the education program supervisors in CLMD and in CID, and of course, my dearest kindergarten education program supervisors and teachers. Today, we are going to have the walkthrough of the most essential learning competencies for kindergarten. So, in the light of the COVID-19, and the consequent shortened academic year, the Department of Education, through the Bureau of Curriculum Development, Curriculum Standards Development Division, has produced a list of the most essential learning competencies, or what we call the MILC. This was done in order to ensure that the grade level standards along with the corresponding content and performance standards set for each learning area are still attained. In the process of identifying the MELC, the endurance criterion was used as the sole determiner, guided by the requirement that a learning competency be useful to lifelong learning. Further, the MELCs identified are those that work in close association with other competencies in other subjects, thus maintaining the curricular quality of integration. So this is the picture of the most essential learning competencies lately. Of course, this is for K to 12 curriculum. So in here, we will be talking about the kindergarten most essential learning competencies. And as we see here, let's try to answer what is milk. So this is all about the most essential learning competency. So what is this? So this serves as a reference to assist the teachers in identifying the most important learning competencies to be developed, acquired by the learners, and must be prioritized in this graduation. Milks with asterisk are rephrased and deemed essential in learning competencies in the achievement of content and performance standards. So milk is for school year 2020-2021 only. So meaning to say, this only intended for this school year of which we will start on August and hopefully we will end on April 2021. So this is our example of the most essential learning competencies of kindergarten. So as you see here, so we have the quarter one or week one. So we have here the content standards. Okay, for example, ang bata ay nagkakaroon ng pag-unawa sa sariling ugali at damdamin. So of course, the milk still has the performance standard. So we have here, ang bata ay nakapagpapamalas ng kakayahang kontrolin ang sariling damdamin at pag-uugali, gumawa ng desisyon at magtagumpay sa kanyang mga gawain. Okay, from these standards, we have the most essential learning competencies. So there are 5. So meaning to say, this is somewhat a subclass, sub-competencies. So we have here, there are 5. So nakikilala ang sarili, pangalan at apelyido, kasarian, gulang or kapanganakan, then gusto or di gusto, then use the proper expression in introducing oneself. So yung sub-competencies of this milk Yeah, this is the most essential learning competencies. And like what we said, there is what we call embedded competencies. So along with this main milk, we have this sub-competencies. They use the proper expression in introducing oneself. So we have a sample here. So I know that kindergarten teachers, they know a lot of this. So as we see, this is now what we're going to teach first. Okay, this one, the proper expression in introducing oneself. Then talk about one's personal experiences, narrate events of the day, then naipakikita ang tiwala sa sarili na tugunan ang sariling pangangailangan ng mag-isa. Kaya halimbawa dyan, maghugas ng kamay, kumain, magbihis, magligpit, tapusin ang gawaing nasimulan. Okay. So this is our example of the milk. So again, we have this what we call the milk, meaning the main milk, and we have what we call the sub-competencies. As a general rule, learning competencies are retained if it satisfies the endurance criterion, which greatly contributes to lifelong learning and is a prerequisite skill to the next grade level. Some of the competencies are merged or clustered if they have the same objective or learning intention, thus can be combined into one comprehensive learning competency. Okay, we have also the case that learning competencies are dropped when they are too specific and the articulation is similar to that of a learning objective, then deemed appropriate to be introduced in an early quarter or grade level or moved to a later quarter or grade level. Then sometimes they are recurring and subsumed in another learning sector. And we have here a learning competencies. And of course, rephrase, this is to be more concise. Okay, this is our process of identifying the milk. So we have here the K to 12 curriculum guide. From there, we come up with the essential learning competencies and then the most essential learning competencies. So from the different learning competencies, there we go. We have now the list of the most essential learning competencies. So the K to 12 most essential learning competencies are not a departure from the K to 12 curriculum. Of course, the MELs are still part of the K to 12 curriculum. Then, of course, there is standards, the content and performance standards. Then focus on the attainment of the 21st century skills. The codes and CAD materials are retained or merged and retained competencies. And all learning areas will still be taught. So if we're going to look into the current curriculum guide versus the MELC, for kindergarten, we have current curriculum guide, we have 241. And right for the total MELCs that we have for four quarters, we have 66 MELCs. So as you see, there is 1% milk as compared to the total number of milk. Kasi yung total number that we have is 5,548. So, kindergarten milk are 66 in number. So, this is 1% of the total number of milk. So, for the kindergarten teachers, you are going to deal 66 milk for one school year. Field implementers are encouraged to contextualize the most essential learning competencies in order to accommodate the varying contexts of learners, teachers, learning environment, and support structures, considering both the content and performance standards. So how to use the milk? So we as kindergarten teachers, we should know how to use the milk. So the Department of Education, through the Bureau of Curriculum Development, Curriculum Standards Development Division, has developed the most essential learning competencies to address the challenges brought about by the global pandemic. Its negative impacts in the educational system, which include but not limited to the shortened school year, limited face-to-face interaction of teachers, of course, with our learners. So, meaning to say, for this school year, we have really limited interaction face-to-face with our learners, and other instructional delivery related concerns pose serious problem, most specifically to early childhood learners. Okay, this is really this now the call for the kindergarten teachers, because it is really give us a problem because we're dealing early graders, young ones, meaning to say this is their first year supposedly in school, right? Entering kindergarten. So thus the MELP ensures that all 5-year-olds, so these are now our kindergarten learners, 5-year-old Filipino learners achieve the content and performance standards expected of them in various learning domains. Always remember our domains, developmental domains in kindergarten. So in the process of identifying the MELs, the endurance criterion was used as the sole determiner. Endurance is defined as the learning competency that remains with learners long after a test is completed, or is useful beyond a single test or unit of study. So finally, the MELs identified under the 7 developmental domains. I still remember our 7 developmental domains? Of course we do. Kindergarten teachers, along with our education program supervisors in kindergarten. These are the 7 developmental domains are those that work in close association with the circular themes from the kindergarten curriculum guide, which will be used for each lesson and activity for the week. So how to use the milks? The milks identified in kindergarten may be taught repeatedly. Okay, take note. Okay, the milks identified in kindergarten may be taught repeatedly to help the learner acquire the necessary knowledge, skills, and values. So take note of this. The MELs identified in kindergarten may be taught repeatedly. So this is to achieve mastery of the skills. Remember, we are developing the 7 domains. So the skills. So this will somehow help our learners acquire the necessary knowledge, skills, and values. It is also recommended that the teacher unpack the MELP into more specific learning competencies or objectives using the kindergarten curriculum guide. So we're still going to have our kindergarten curriculum guide, our TCG. Then the teacher may add more sub-competencies depending on the need of the learners. Again, take note of this. It is also recommended that the teacher unpack the MELP into more specific learning competencies or objectives using the TCG. Then the teacher may add, always because this can be our context. So the teacher may add more sub-competencies depending on the need of the learners. So meaning to say, in this part, we, the teachers of the kindergarten, are encouraged to, to contextualize or to contextualize the competence based on the needs of our learners. So if for one competency perhaps our learners cannot master yet a particular skill, then we can add more competencies. Okay? So the MELs identified in kindergarten, okay, yun, that is, we are going to, this is what we call taught repeatedly, right? So this is our now example. This is what I give a while back. So this is our example MELs for kindergarten. So quarter 1, week 1. So again, as you see, we have the content standards, we have the performance standards, And this column is for most essential learning competencies, and we have the sub competencies. This is what has been emphasized a while back, that in this portion, we, the teachers, can add or may add sub-competencies or additional competencies depending on the need of the learners. So again, if the learners cannot master yet the skills, so that the teachers can add some competencies with along with that most essential learning competencies. So we are going to look into our kindergarten curriculum guide. So you have the copy of the milks, and of course, always bring with you also the copy of your kindergarten curriculum guide, so that you will be guided with the sub competencies to go along with that milks. Okay, so this is a sample for the quarter 2, week 2. Okay, still we have the content standards, we have the performance standards, we have the most essential learning competencies, and we have the sub competencies. So if we're going to look into the what is that? The things listed, the MELCs listed in the full package of the most essential learning competencies, we will find the MELCs for kindergarten on these pages. So this is the first page in there, the kindergarten. So you have here, this is now really the picture of the contents of the MELCs. So we have quarter 1 or the first quarter, and as you see, we have what we call the duration. So at most, we are guided when to have this particular MELC be taught to our learners because of this duration. So as you see, the duration is not given to us as day 1, day 2, day 3, 4, and 5, but it's given to us as a week. Okay, as a week. But as we teach this particular milk, always remember that we can add some sub competencies. So if this is the most essential learning competencies, then if we feel that our learners would not master right away the skill emphasized or the domain emphasized in this milk, then we can add sub competencies. So we have here, for example, we have this one, nakikilala ang sarili. This is what we have presented in our sample a while back. So this is the second milk for week 2. So for week 2, we will focus the themes on nasasabi ang mga sariling pangangailangan ng walang pag-aalinlangan at nakasusunod sa mga itinakdang tuntunin at gawain, that those are the routines sa paaralan at silid-aralan. Okay? So ito yung tinitingnan natin. So we have here, it is all about disiplina. Yung konsepto na ibigay natin dito. This is the disiplina. And for week 3 ng quarter 1, we will be talking about, we will let our learners demonstrate an understanding of letters. Ayan. So this is now week 3, sort and classify objects according to one attribute, property, that is about the shape, the color, size, function, and use. Okay, so this is now, so we have 3 weeks with 3 most essential learning competencies. So we have here also the week 4 of quarter 1. And as you see that. And then we are now introducing in week 4, we are now introducing the letter, number, or word that is different in group. So we have nais sa kikilos ang sariling kakayahan sa iba't ibang paraan. Halimbawa sa pag-awit, pagsayaw, at iba pa. So that's for week 4. For week 5, we will focus on nakikilala ang mga pangunahing emosyon. So tuwa, takot, galit, at lungkot. Then tell which 2 letters, numbers, or words in a group are the same. That's for week 5. Then, of course, for week 6, recognize symmetry. Yan. For, we have week 7. This is about the function of each basic body part. Demonstrate movements using different body parts. Then week 8, name the 5 senses and their corresponding body parts. We have the week 9, identify one's basic needs and ways to care for one's body. Then week 10, practice ways to care for one's body. So as you see for quarter 1, we have 10 weeks for quarter 1 to deal with the most essential learning competencies. Then for quarter 2, so we have here quarter 2, we have, okay, this is the week 1, natutukoy na may pamilya ang bawat isa. For week 2, natutukoy kung sino-sino ang bumubuo ng pamilya. Week 3, na ilalarawan kung paano nagkakaiba at nagkakatulad ang bawat pamilya. Then week 4, this is all about pagmamahal sa mga asasi ng pamilya. As you see, for quarter 2, we are going to talk about more about family. Okay? So, dito natin to bata, yung about sa pamilya. Yung concept nila about family. Dito yan sa quarter 2. Then, for week 5, name the places and the things found in the classroom, school, and community. Because our content standards here, the child demonstrates an understanding of acquiring new words, widening his or her vocabulary, links to her or his experiences. So in this part na, sa week 5, the child demonstrates an understanding of objects in the environment, then have properties or attributes. So this time, our learners will talk about the colors, the size, shapes, and functions, and that objects can be manipulated based on these properties and attributes. So go to week 6, give the names of family members, school personnel, and community helpers, and the roles they play or jobs they do or things that they use to. Okay? So those are the samples or those are the melts identified for quarters 1 and quarters 2. And additional for quarters 2, we have the week 7. So we have week 7. We have here. We will talk about the polite greetings and courteous expressions in appropriate situations. Then week 8, talk about likes, dislikes, the foods. Those are the foods, the pets, toys, games, friends, and places. Then talk about family members, pets, toys, foods, or members of the community using various appropriate descriptive words. Okay, so repeatedly done. Di ba? As you notice, as we choose about the milks, so they are repeatedly presented in every quarter. Then week 9, tell and describe the different kinds of weather, that is sunny, rainy, cloudy, stormy, windy. Then observe and record the weather daily as part of the opening routine. Okay. Then week 10, identify what we wear and use for each kind of weather. So that from this comprises quarter 2. So still we have 10 weeks in quarter 2. Okay. For part of the second quarter, the part of the second quarter is the tracing activity on tracing, tapping and writing the letters of the alphabet. Then straight lines, then combination of straight and slanting lines, then combination of straight and curved lines. Then we have rounded strokes with hoops. Then write once with a name. So we introduce Now the letters according to how are they written, how are how they look, yung mga letters of the alphabet. Then for week 3, so dito sa week 3, the child demonstrates an understanding of concepts of size, length, weight, time, and money. So tell the names of the days in a week, month, and a year. So that's for week one in quarter 3 or third quarter. So as you see, uh, we, with you, we will give you copies of the milk, but I guess that you already have copies of your milk. So I hope that you will be walking through with that milk. You open that one because that would be the milk now would be our Bible, but along with that milk, of course, always also bring with you your curriculum guide. Okay, so with that, we have this. Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. So this is what Benjamin Franklin tells us. Okay, and then another thing that we need to remember: children don't care what a teacher knows unless they know the teacher cares. We need to care our learners this time more. We need to give more care on them because it's a different setup, different delivery of the modality, different delivery of the learning for this pandemic. So we need to care more about our learners. Then if a child can't learn the way we teach, maybe we should teach the way we learn. Okay? And with that, thank you very much. Again, this is Annalisa
Good.
Casas Almazan, your kindergarten focal person in the regional office. Good day, everyone.
Maraming salamat po, Dr. Annalisa Almazan, our kindergarten Fs of Region 11. I hope that all our teacher participants teaching in kindergarten have taken all important points that was discussed by Ma'am Annalisa. Maraming salamat po, Ma'am. And now to present the MELC and the multi-grade, allow me to welcome on screen Region 11 Education Program Supervisor for multi-grade, Dr. George N. Wong.
Good day, everyone. Yours truly is a focal person of MT, MTB, MLE for today's regional training of trainers. In this time of threat, challenges, and uncertainties brought by about COVID-19, the directive by our dear DepEd Secretary, Lenore Magtulis Briones, is to ensure the health, safety, and welfare of the learners, teachers, and personnel of the department, while also finding ways for learning to continue. And it is strongly supported by our beloved Regional Director, Dr. Evelyn R. Pitalbero, and our CLM Chief, Dr. Janet G. Baloso. That is why we have the MELCs, or most essential learning competencies, in all subject area. Process identifying the MELCs. So we have the framework here. We get it from the K-12 curriculum guide and identify the essential learning competencies and have to, again, select the most essential learning competencies. So with this pandemic crisis, we have to shorten our academic calendar for the year 2020-21 with the different delivery modes or model of instruction. MELs in mother tongue. What are the MELs in the mother tongue? The endurance, criterion was used in the process of identifying the MELC. Which learning competencies were considered enduring if the learning competencies or LC is useful in lifelong learning. But be reminded, the field, we are encouraged to contextualize the most essential learning competencies in order to accommodate the varying context of learners, teachers, learning environment, and support structures, considering both the content and performance standards. To this, Filipino learners are guaranteed with relevant and quality basic education despite the current health crisis. Which learning competencies were considered endurance? Those that work in close association with other competencies in other subjects. Example, interpret a pictograph based on given legend. As we go on with our seminar or training, we have to consider the number of learning competencies in mother tongue. So we have here for grade 1, mother tongue curriculum guide, we have 768, and most essential learning competencies 71. For grade 2, we have 602 curriculum guide and health 38. For grade 3, we have 368 and 26 health. Total of 1,738 for curriculum guide and 135 MELCs. MELCs are considerably less than the original number of learning competencies in the curriculum because of two factors. 8, we have recurrence is limited. For example, grade 1. Grade 1, the learning competencies for grade 1, we have participate actively during story reading by making comments and asking questions. Grade 2, if you observe, there's a recurrence here. Participate actively during story reading by making comments and asking questions using complete sentences. Else are possibly A, B, to merge and clustered. The learning competencies are merged and clustered. How did we come with MELCs in mother tongue? So we have the process, we retain, we phrase, merge, clustered, and drop for this card. We have also to consider the grade level standards. For grade 1, the learner demonstrates basic communication skills in talking about the familiar topics using simple words and both verbal and non-verbal cues to understand. Spoken language shows understanding of basic vocabulary and language structures, reading processes, writing system, and appreciates aspects of one's culture. For grade 2, the learner demonstrates communication skills in talking about variety of topics using developing vocabulary and simple phrases and sentences, simple to complex spoken language using both verbal and non-verbal cues, understands vocabulary and language structure, appreciates and understands the cultural aspect of the language and writing system use, and reads and writes system and short literary and informational texts. For grade 3, the learners demonstrates communication skills in talking about variety of topics using expanding vocabulary and phrases, shows understanding of spoken language in different contexts, using both verbal and nonverbal cues, vocabulary and language structures, cultural aspects of the language, reads and writes literary and informational texts. Grade level standards are maintained through the chosen MELs, as we have discussed a while ago. To use MELs in mother tongue is another example. Subtask MELs. Grade level or quarter. So grade 2 is the first quarter. The MELs is give the summary of the story. We have to subdivide it in sub-competencies or subtopics. Give the main idea of the story poem or poem. And another sub-competencies, we have give the correct sequence of 3 to 5 events in the story. And the last one, we have note important details in grade level narrative text, character, B, setting, C, plot, problem of resolution. 3 is repeat MELs as needed. So, the sense that the learners do not fully reach your objective, then teacher must repeat the said MELs. 4, you have to plan. Decide on the duration of MELs depending on the needs of the learner. So it's high time for the teachers, the principals, and of course, supervisors to revisit the classroom for this purpose. So with that, I give you the word of Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it's done. Thank you. Maraming salamat po. Stay safe and God bless.
That was Dr. George N. Wong, our region for multi-grade, and also has given us the walkthrough of the most essential learning competencies in mother tongue. Ayan, ngayon naman po, may I request our head controller kung pwede po ba akong lumabas sa screen for a while. Because gusto ko po sana kayong kumustahin. Kung okay pa po ba kayo dyan? Are you still with us this morning? Kumusta na po mga teacher participants? Are you feeling good this Tuesday morning? Sana po ay nakikinig tayo sa discussion ng ating mga region education program supervisor. At ngayon ay i-open na po namin ang ating attendance link for day 2 morning session. Ulitin ko po, open na po ang ating link for day 2 morning session. Kaya kung naka-screenshot kayo ng ating
All right. Kaway-kaway, mga teachers from Kapalong East District. So we are done discussing about, or Dr. Janet J. Veloso are done discussing about the rationale and overview of MELC in different areas. So sa iba't ibang subject po, sa iba't ibang asignatura, para ready na po tayo sa opening of classes on August 24. All right. So attendance update. It is already flashed on screen the or today's attendance. And controller, ilan na po ang say present or nag-fill out sa ating attendance for today. Anyway, iba po yung attendance natin in the morning and in the afternoon. So, talagang magko-close po talaga ang ating attendance in the morning, of course, after the morning session, and another link for the afternoon session. All right? So, as before proceeding, I know you really had a lot of information. So, overload na ang information na natatanggap natin. But of course, still, we can manage all of those. Kailangan din nato, no? Karon, before proceeding to the overview of MELC, let us first read comments in the live stream. So, dili nato kalimtan o basa ang mga comments sa ato ang mga dasig kayo, mga maestro, nakatutok jud pirmi. And wala jud paglubad sa pagsubaybay, pagtutok sa ato ang webinar this week. So from Ma'am Jennifer Dumatol, great morning to all the teachers in Kapalong East District watching from Adelanto Elementary School. Alright, thank you so much, Ma'am. Maayong buntag. Magandang buhay. God bless everyone from grade 2 on the go. MSS Cares from Ma'am Sheila May Brase. Good morning, everyone, from Ma'am Jean Doronio. So, all right. Good morning and magandang Tuesday sa tanan, Ma'am Luda May Tarig. Iniimbitahan ko lahat yung mga teachers na pwede po kayong mag-comment greetings dito po. Kasi napapansin namin, may mga teachers na bumabalik-balik. Sila lang po always yung participative masyado sa ating webinar this morning. So, teachers, inaanyayahan namin po kayong lahat na mag-comment and send your greetings in our webinar for today. All right. And, of course, don't forget to include or use our official hashtag for the 5-day training. Hashtag CapEase LMS and hashtag Sulong CapEase. So ayo kalimti o gamit kay ato aning ipa-trending. So daghan kaayo og mag-upload sa Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, matrending ni siya. O gamito nato permanente whenever we post our pictures. Of course, focusing on our webinar. All right, so don't forget to include and use our official hashtag. And to those na wala pa naka-attendance, attendance link is already flashed on screen. Day 2 a.m. attendance. Naana po sulti na mag-close daw, dali na daw mag-close ang attendance. Dili man, ma'am, sir, mag-close ang attendance nato every after the session. Kaya in the afternoon, we will again provide another link for the attendance. So, update jud ta, no? Update ta para sa mga link sa ato ang attendance para dili tayo maulahi. Alright. So, here is the link for the day to attendance. And evaluation link will be available in the afternoon. Alright. So tomorrow's MOL would be Kapalong National High School once again. And don't forget, those assigned in the recap later in the afternoon. So before we will proceed to our webinar proper, all right, we will have first the recapitulation from Vislumino Waitamundong Elementary School. All right, attendees for today, congratulations, Kapalong East District 475. Woo! Out of 610. So at least, di ba, more than half ang atuang attendance karong buntaga. So ato pa jud ning kompleto nato ni kay para at least para murag bongga jud kaayo ang Kapalong East District. Tanan jud nga mga maestro no ni attend sa atuang training on learning management system. So thank you so much for staying with us this morning. Wala pa ta nahuman, daghan pa kaayo og mga information ang ihatag sa ato. So let's proceed and let's go back to the webinar proper.
Aking pagpupugay sa ating panrehiyong direktor, Dr. Evelyn Fetalvero, CESO4, ang ating Assistant Regional Director, Dr. Maria Ines Asuncion, CESO5, sa Hepe ng Curriculum and Learning Management Division, Dr. Janet G. Veloso, sa mga tagapamanihalang pansangay, ang mga Hepe ng Curriculum and Implementation Division, mga tagamasidpan sangay ng 11 dibisyon, kasama ang buong kaguruan ng Filipino, sa lahat ng nanunood at nakikinig, ang aking pagsaludo sa inyong presensya ngayon. Dumako naman tayo sa asignaturang Filipino. Ang oryentasyon sa paggamit ng pinakamahalagang kasanayang pampagkatuto o MELCS. Unahin natin ang kaligiran ng pagkakabuo ng ELCS to MELCS. Bago pa man ang pandemya, ang Bureau of Curriculum and Learning, ang Bureau of Curriculum Division ay nagkaroon ng inisyatibo sa pagtukoy ng mga mahalagang kasanayang pampagkatuto sa pagtutulungan ng ating Bureau Specialist, academic experts at field implementors na pagkasunduan ang panuntunan na gagamiting mekanismo upang mapagtibay ang pagtukoy ng mga kasanayang pampagkatuto. Sa pagtuturo ng Filipino, ang gabay natin ay ang konseptual na balangkas sa K-12. Tunguhin, nilalaman ng konseptual na balangkas ng Filipino curriculum na makalinang ng isang buo at ganap na Pilipinong may kapaki-pakinabang na literasi. Lilinangin ang kakayahang komunikatibo gamit ang 5 makrong kasanayan, reflektibo at may papanuring pag-iisip, pagpapahalagang pampanitikan, pambansang pagkakakilanlan, kultural na literasi, patuloy na pagkatuto upang makaagapay sa mabilis na pagbabagong nagaganap sa daigdig, gamit ang mga lunsarang babasahin at teknolohiya. Magtatagumpay ito sa suporta ng kurikulum, ng guro, ng kagamitang pagtuturo, ng lipunan, pribado at pampubliko, media, tahanan, pamahalaang lokal at administratibo. Sa Filipino, ang kabuuang kasanayang pampagkatuto ay umabot ng 2,378. Bilang ng kasanayang pampagkatuto mula K-12 Curriculum Learning Competency mula 2,378 sa Essential Learning Competency ay nabawasan, naging 1,790 at sa Most Essential Learning Competencies ay naging 708 na po. Kaya ito ay umabot ng 29.77% ang pagbaba ng ating kasanayang pampagkatuto. Sa K-12 versus MELCS, pansinin natin ang talahanayang ito. Sa grade 1, ang 195 naging 48, grade 2, 284 to 37, grade 3, 272 to 55, grade 4, 343 to 102, grade 5, 312 to 57, grade 6, 274 to 51, grade 7, 169 to 47, grade 8, 152 to 73, grade 9, 179 to 103, at grade 10, 198, bumaba ng 135. Kaya from 2,378 naging 708. At ito po ang sa katabi po dito na talahanayan ang curriculum guide breakdown per quarter. Ito sa K-12, ito naman ang bago ngayon sa MELCS. Alamin natin ang proseso sa pagpili at pagbuo ng MELC. Ito ay nabuo sa Endurance ni Reeves 2002 at ni Manny and Horrell noong 2014. Ito po ang pinagbatayan, ang pananaliksik, pagbasa, pagsulat, pagbasa ng mapa at hypothesis testing. Ang isang kasanayang pampagkatuto, ang learning competency o kasanayang papagkatuto ay nagiging enduring o magtatagal ika nga if it remains with any learners long after a test or unit of study is completed, or if it is useful beyond a single test or unit of study. Magtatagal siya kapag nagagamit sa totoong buhay, sa letter A. At letter B naman, kung lubhang kailangan upang matutunan ang iba pang asignatura. Halimbawa nito na ibabahagi ang isang pangyayaring nasaksihan o naobserbahan. So nagagamit sa totoong buhay. Letter B, nakasusulat ng isang balangkas mula sa mga nakalap na impormasyon mula sa binasa. Lubhang kailangan. So isinalang-alang din ang pagsasakatuparan ng mga pabantayan sa bawat baitang. Ang mga kasanayang pampagkatuto ay dumaan sa 4 na proseso. May mga kasanayang pampagkatuto na pinanatili, may pinagsama, may tinanggal, at may inayos. Pinanatili kung umayon sa kriteriya at may malaking gampanin na makamit ang inaasahang malinang sa pagtamo ng kasanayan sa susunod na baitang. Pinagsama naman ang kasanayang pampagkatuto kung may pagkakatulad na layunin na pinagsama sa iisang komprehensibong kasanayang pampagkatuto. Tinanggal naman kung may tiyak na pag-uulit at pagkakatulad sa mga layunin na pinagsama na itinuturing na di paganap na ituro at linangin at mahirap na maisagawa ng level ng mga mag-aaral. At inayos naman kung tumpak na dapat linangin. Ito ang ilan sa mga halimbawa ng pagproseso ng MELC. Pinanatili kapag nahuhulaan ang susunod na mangyayari sa napakinggang kwento. Nasusuri kung opinyon o katotohanan ang pahayag. Ang lahat ito ay Filipino grade 1 at Filipino grade 4. So, pinanatili yan. Ito naman ay pinagsama o merge dahil ang bawat pahayag po ay magkapareho lamang ang patutunguhan, nagkaiba lamang sa talata at sa tula. So ang kabuuan ay bibigay ang paksa ng talata at tula. Tinanggal naman kapag nakagagawa ng sariling maikling pelikula. Ito ay pangkatang gawain. So sa panahon natin ngayon, wala po tayong face-to-face, kaya imposible po na ito po ay magawa ng ating mga mag-aaral. So ito po ay tinanggal. Inayos naman ang tatlong ito na mga orihinal na kasanayang pampagkatuto dahil pareho lamang po ang patutunguhan na iuulat at naiuulat. Ang pagkakaiba lamang ay paaralan, silid-aralan at telebisyon. Ang kabuuan po na iuulat ng pasalita ang mga naobserbahang pangyayari sa paligid, bahay, komunidad, paaralan at sa mga napanood sa telebisyon, cellphone at computer. So yan po ay inayos at pinag-isa pareho po na kasanayang pampagkatuto sa grade 1. Sa case stage 1 o baitang 1 to 3, alamin natin ang pagkasunod-sunod ng spiral progression mula sa nauunawaan ng mga mag-aaral ang pasalita at di pasalitang paraan ng pagpapahayag, dumako sa ikalawang baitang, nasasabi ng mga mag-aaral ang pangunahing diwa. So yun na ang pangalawa, maayos na nakasusulat upang maipahayag at maiugnay ang sariling ideya, damdamin at karanasan. Sa ikatlong baitang, nakapagbibigay na ng kaugnay o katumbas na teksto. So ang tatlong ito po ang kinalabasan kung napansin ninyo sa K-12, 195 naging 48, 284 to 37, 272 to 55. Tama po kayo. Nung kami po ay nagkaroon ng pakighinabi, ito po ang natukoy na yung iba ay nagpaulit-ulit at pareho lang ang mga pagpapahayag. At ito po ang kinalabasan, breakdown ng bawat quarter sa K-stage 1. Okay, sa unang baitang, ito po ang mga halimbawa. Nagkaroon po ng pinagsama o merge o clustered ang tatlong linangin sa mga kasanayang pampagkatuto na nakalista sa ELC. Kaya minabuting pagsamahin na lang ang mga ito gamit ang iba't ibang uri ng tekstong inilahad sa ELC. So ito na po ang pinakamahalagang kasanayang pampagkatuto o MELCs na nabuo. Nasasagot ang mga tanong tungkol sa napakinggang pabula, tugma, tula at tekstong pang-impormasyon. So kung napansin ninyo, pinag-isama natin ang pabula, tugma at tekstong pang-impormasyon. Sa ikalawang baitang naman, ang unang kasanayang pampagkatuto ay pinanatili. Ito po, pinanatili. Samantalang ang tatlong kasanayang pampagkatuto, sumunod ay tinanggal na dahil ito ay paulit-ulit na nabanggit sa loob ng isang baitang. Tingnan ninyo, ang Filipino grade 2 lahat ito, paulit-ulit na binanggit sa isang baitang. So, ang kabuuan, nagagamit ang unang kaalaman o karanasan sa pag-unawa ng napakinggang teksto. So, ibig sabihin, naging malinaw na po dahil pinagsama na po natin, pinanatili po natin at meron tayong tinanggal para maiwasan ang pag-uulit. Sa ikatlong baitang naman, may tinanggal na dalawa at may inayos at pinagsama. Paano? Ang dahilan, tinanggal na ang dalawang naunang kasanayang pampagkatuto dahil ang mga ito ay kahalintulad lang ng mga sumunod na kasanayang pampagkatuto. Pinagsama at inayos na lamang ang tatlong natirang kasanayan dahil ito ay lumilinang lang ng isang kasanayan. So itong dalawa ang tinanggal, isasalaysay muli ang napakinggan teksto, ito pareho lang, at inayos at pinagsama na merge po natin at ito na ang kabuuan na isasalaysay muli ang teksto ng may tamang pagkasunod-sunod ng mga pangyayari sa tulong ng pamatnubay na tanong at balangkas. So pansinin ninyo, pamatnubay na tanong at balangkas, pinag-isa. Sa case stage 2 naman, pansinin natin ang pagbabago. Baitang 4 to 6, ang pamantayan natin ay kakayahan sa pagbasa at pagsulat. May pahayag ang kaalaman, ideya at damdaming angko. Sa ikalimang baitang, kakayahan pa rin sa pakikipagtalastasan at may pagpapahalaga sa panitikan. Sa ika-6 na baitang, kakayahan pa rin sa pakikipagtalastasan, mapanuring pag-iisip at pagpapahalaga sa wika, panitikan at kultura. So, ibig sabihin, may pagkasunod-sunod. Okay, ito na, kinalabasan. Ang laki ng diferensya, kung mapapansin ninyo. Ang halimbawa, pinagsama. Ang dahilan, ang pinagsama itong tatlo, pinagsama ang kasanayang nais linangin sa mga tukoy na kasanayang pampagkatuto, kaya minabuting pagsamahin na ang mga ito. So, ang nabanggit dito ay pahayag, teksto at ulat. Tingnan natin ang kabuuan na pinagsama, nasasabi ang sanhi at bunga ayon sa nabasang pahayag, napakinggang teksto at napakinggang ulat. O, tingnan ninyo, pinagsama. O, di ba? Mas naging matibay at naging mas malinaw. Sa ikalimang baitang naman, tinanggal itong lahat. Bakit? Nakasusunod sa 2-3 hakbang na panuto. Tinanggal itong lahat dahil sa napag-uulit-ulit na sa unang yugto o sa case stage 1, nabanggit na, kaya inaasahan na master na ito ng bata pagdating sa kalimang baitang. Ang competencing ito ay kasama na rin sa iba pang competency na nauukol sa pag-unawa sa iba't ibang teksto. At ang competencing ito ay magiging bahagi na ng proseso sa pagtuturo at pagkatuto bukod sa mahirap sukatin ang learning competency na ito. So ito ay hindi na pwedeng gamitin dahil ito ay tinanggal na upang magkaroon ng kalinawan. Nabanggit na kasi ito sa case stage 1. So sa baitang 6 o ika-6 na baitang, pinagsama naman natin ang 1, 2, 3, 4 na kasanayang pampagkatuto. Ibig sabihin, 4 pinagsama. Ang dahilan, isa lamang ang kasanayang nais linangin sa mga kasanayang pampagkatuto. Kaya pinagsama-sama na ito sa isang NELC. Pansinin natin ang kabuuan, nasasagot ang mga tanong tungkol sa napakinggan at nabasa, napabula, kwento, tekstong pang-impormasyon at usapan. So ito na. Ibig sabihin, from 4, naging 1. Dahil pinagsama na sa ika-6 na baitang. Let's proceed to case stage 3 o baitang 7 to 10. Kung napansin niyo ay pamamalas na mag-aaral ang kakayahang komunikatibo, mapanuring pag-iisip at pag-unawa at pagpapahalagang pampanitikan ng kulturang panrehiyon. Dito naman ay kulturang Pilipino. Dito naman ay pagkakakilanlang Asyano sa ika-9 na baitang. At sa ika-10 baitang ay sa kamalayang global. Ito lang ang pagkakaiba ng pamantayan ng case stage 3. Ayun, alamin natin sa grade 7 from 169 down to 47, from 152 down to 73, from 179 sa grade 9 to 103, 198 to 135 ang grade 10. Alamin natin ang mga inayos at pinagsama sa kasanayang pampagkatuto sa ika-7 baitang. Ang dahilan, diba? Kung napansin natin, ang keyword dito, kahulugan, 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 at kasing kahulugan. So mahalaga ang kasanayang ito sa pag-unawa sa binasa na kailanganin ng mga mag-aaral, kaya inayos lamang ang pangungusap at pinagsama na sa isang kasanayang pampagkatuto ang mga paraan ng pagbibigay ng kahulugan para hindi na po paulit-ulit. So inayos at ito na ang naging kabuuan na ipaliliwanag ang kahulugan ng salita sa pamamagitan ng pagpapangkat batay sa konteksto ng pangungusap, dinotasyon at konotasyon at batay sa kasing kahulugan at kasalungat nito. So ibig sabihin, isa na, malinaw na, mas klaro na. Sa ika-8 baitang naman, inayos lang din natin. Isinama ang kasanayang pagkatuto na ito dahil kailangan ng ating mag-aaral na maging mapanuri sa mga pinanood sa telebisyon para maging tiyak na ipinagagawa, isinaayos ang kasanayang pagkatuto para maging NELC. So, naging nasusuri ang napanood na pelikula batay sa paksa, layon, tema, gamit ang mga salita at mga tauhan. Sa ika-9 naman na baitang, tinanggal natin ito, itatanghal ang dulang panteatro na pumapaksa sa ilang napapanahong isyo, panlipunan sa kasalukuyan. Bakit tinanggal? Tinanggal na ang mga kompetensing hindi na magagawa ng mga mag-aaral ng mag-isa dahil nangangailangan ng face-to-face na ugnayan. At sa ika-10 baitang naman, nagagamit ang angkop at masining na paglalarawan ng tao, pangyayari at damdamin. Ito ay pinanatili dahil ang kasanayang ito ay tumutugon sa kahingian ng endurance na nagagamit sa pakikipag-ugnayan sa ibang tao. Ang kabuuan, nagagamit ang angkop at masining na paglalarawan ng tao, pangyayari at damdamin. Sa senior high school naman, mapapansin natin, sa core subjects, meron tayong 2, komunikasyon at pananaliksik sa wika at kulturang Pilipino at pagbasa at pagsusuri ng iba't ibang teksto tungo sa pananaliksik. Ito ang kasanayang pampagkatuto Tingnan natin mula 33 down to 29 at sa pagbasa naman ay 15, wala pong nabago. Mananatili po yun. Pansinin natin ang tinanggal sa komunikasyon at pananaliksik, nakasusulat ng isang panimulang pananaliksik sa mga penomenang kultural at panlipunan. Bakit po siya tinanggal? Inalis na ang kasanayang ito dahil or sapagkat nabanggit na ito o umulit na ito ng magkatulad na learning competency. Kung mapapansin ninyo sa kabuuan na ulit na po. At ito naman sa pagbasa at pagsusuri, natutukoy ang paksang tinalakay sa ibang tekstong binasa. Pinanatili po natin dahil mahalaga ang kasanayang ito upang matutuhan ang mga susunod na kasanayang pampagkatuto at nakatugon ito sa pamantayan. Ika nga. Sa applied subjects, ito yung Filipino sa piling larang. Meron tayong academic, may sports, may sining at disenyo at technical vocational. Sa Filipino sa piling larang academic, isa lang po ang natanggal. Sa piling larang ay isa rin po ang natanggal at nanatili naman sa sining at disenyo at technical vocational. Pansinin natin ang pinanatili natin sa Filipino sa piling larang na kapag sasagawa ng panimulang pananaliksik kaugnay ng kahulugan, kalikasan at katangian ng iba't ibang anyo ng sulating akademiko. Bakit siya pinanatili? Dahil nakatugon ang kasanayang ito sa pamantayan at sa kasanayan sa pananaliksik. So mahalagang mahalaga ito. Sa malikhaing pagsulat naman o specialized subject ika nga, mula 27 naging 26 lamang po. Ito yon, isinaayos lamang natin, natutukoy ang iba't ibang elemento, mga teknik, kagamitang pampanitikan sa panulaan. Isinaayos lamang dahil ginawang mas tiyak ang kasanayang pampagkatuto. Mas malinaw na naging natutukoy ang mga tiyak na anyo at kumbensyon sa panulaan. Paano gamitin ang mga MERP ngayon? So, ang mangyayari dahil ito ay pangkalahatan na at napansin nyo naman kanina na pinag-isa na, pinagsama na as one. So, hihimay-himayin nyo lamang sa isang linggo, kung isang MERP lamang, hihimay-himayin nyo lang para sa matiyak na kasanayang pampagkatuto. Paano gamitin ito? Halimbawa, ito yung pangkalahatan o pinakamahalagang kasanayang pampagkatuto. Paano hinimay? Naging, kung ito ay nagagamit ng wasto ang mga pangalan at panghalip sa pagtalakay tungkol sa sarili sa mga tao, hayop, lugar, bagay at pangyayari sa paligid, sa usapan at paglalahad tungkol sa sariling karanasan. Ito po ay sa ikalimang baitang unang markahan. Paano natin hinimay? Ito na, natutukoy ang kahulugan ng mga pangalan at panghalip, nakapagbibigay ng mga halimbawa ng pangalan at panghalip, nakapagbibigay ng reaksyon sa isang usapin, at naisasalaysay ang sariling karanasan. Ibig sabihin, ang nalinang po natin ay magkaiba, pero iisang MEROX lamang o competency, hinimay natin upang mas malinaw. So mayroon po tayong kalayaan na maghimay-himay. So ito, paano gagamitin? Ulitin ang ilang MEROC, pwede po sa iba pang markahan ng bawat baitang kung kinakailangan sa lalong paglinang nito. Halimbawa dito, sa unang baitang, ikatlong markahan, ikalawang baitang unang markahan, ikatlong baitang unang markahan, pareho lang po na ulit lang natin. Dahil kinakailangan po. Pero MEROC na po ito. Ito. Kung napansin ninyo. Okay? Aktual na halimbawa ng listahan ng MEROCs, ito po ang makikita ninyo. So ito po ay uploaded na sa ating LR portal at sa ating LMS. Pumili ng mga magkasamang MEROC na sasakto para sa 8 linggo. Maaring sumangguni din sa gabay pang kurikulum para sa pagpapasyang ito. Ang mahalaga, matarget ang mga kasanayang pampagkatuto na nasa MEROC sa bawat baitang. Bukod sa pangsangguni sa gabay pang kurikulum, para sa pag-ulit ng isang kasanayang pampagkatuto at sa pagpapasyang pagsama-sama ng ilang MEROC sa isang markahan, maaari ding sumangguni sa final na version ng MEROC kung saan makikita ang mga code dito. Again, ang final na version ng MEROC po ay nasa ating portal na at sa mga Education Program Supervisor, meron na rin po silang kopya na pwede maibigay sa inyo. Meron na rin po yung code. Ang mga code ang nagsasabi ko ano-ano mga LC ang pinagsama-sama sa bawat milk. Paalala lamang po, binibigyan laya ang mga guro na makapili ng mga magkakasamang milk sa bawat linggo. Ang layunin sa pagpili ng mga milk ay hindi upang palitan ang kasalukuyang curriculum guide, kundi upang magabayan ang mga guro sa pagtukoy ng mga kompetensing mas kinakailangan ng mga mag-aaral sa taong panuruang 2020 to 2021. So, ibig sabihin, hinihikayat pa rin ang mga guro na sumangkuni sa curriculum guide ng Filipino. Muli, isang pagpapala ang makapaglingkod sa bayan. Maraming salamat, pamilyang Filipino. Ito po si Ginang Mary Jane M. Mejorada, ang Education Program Supervisor ng Filipino.
Maraming salamat po, Dr. Mejorada, sa inyong buong pusong pagbabahagi sa aming lahat ng mga mahahalagang impormasyon patungkol sa mga pinakamahalagang kasanayang pampagkatuto o MELC sa Filipino. Ayun po, maraming salamat, Dr. Mary Jane. And now, isang very quick announcement lang po para sa lahat ng ating mga perfect 10 kahapon. Yung in-announce po namin yesterday afternoon, the top 10 or the first 10 perfect scorers for our pre-test. Please send a private message po to our CID Chief, Dr. Edward Amugis. And please indicate po your contact number or your SIM number kung saan po ilo-load ang 100 pesos. Again po, announcement to all our perfect 10 na mga awardees kahapon. Please send a private message to our CID Chief, Dr. Edward C. Amugis. And please indicate your SIM number upang maklaim na ninyo ang inyong 100 pesos load. And Sir Chief, pag wala gani mo message, Sir Chief, amuan na lang ng 100.
All right. Hep, hep. Hep, hep mga teachers of Kapalong East District. All right. So, isa na namang puno ng impormasyon at kaalaman ang ating natunghayan sa pahayag ng ating fourth speaker this morning. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the inputs you have shared to us. All right, so at this juncture, we will be reading again comments in the live stream. So continue sending messages, teachers, kasi as what I have told kahapon na meron po tayong mga surprise na prizes. Baka ikaw na yun. Ikaw na ang mananalo ng aming surprise prizes dito po. Alright, so babasahin muna natin ang mga comment na nandito. Ma'am Ira May Apura, isang siksik liglig na bumubuhos na biyayang umaga sa lahat. Pa-shout out sa mga siksik liglig po na mga teachers from Mansalinaw Elementary School. Have a fruitful day, everyone. Grabe no, ang mga siksik liglig. Dili na ko na masabtan. Dagan kayo, salamat Ma'am Apura. Alright, Ma'am King Royo, good morning. Maayong buntag, Mar Chris Kalimutan from Kapatagan IS. Good morning, everyone. Maayong buntag kanatatanan. Oy, murag kuan na tag mga bag-o nga mga nag-comment nga mga teachers. So, thank you so much, Ma'am Iris Mendoza. Magandang buhay. So, wala na nagabalik-balik ang ato ang mga teachers, no? Nga naga-comment po diri sa ato ang live stream. Daghang kayong salamat for being so participative in our webinar this morning or the second day of our training. Ma'am Janet Lumando, good morning from Kapalong National High School. Mayong buntag, ma'am. So daghan pa kaayo ni nga mga atong basahonon kay muraga ang uban dili jud ni magpalabot na dili sila mabasa. All right. Sir Ian Ray Rosilio, good morning Kapalong East District teachers. GBU and keep safe. Diba? Na may GBU. Ma'am Dayan May Olmedo, hello ma'am. Grabe no. Dasig jud kay si Ma'am Dayan. Wishing everyone a very good morning. May our day be fruitful and exciting. Exciting indeed, Ma'am Dayan, and very fruitful because of the information being cascaded by our speakers this morning. Ma'am Christy Londres, good morning everyone. Dili jud magpalupig no ang members sa tong TWG mo great jud. All right. Hello Ma'am Christy sa akong atubangan.
Hi.
All right. So another, sige pa basahon pa nato ni atong mga nag-comment diri. Sir Jerry Alkizar, good morning watching from Kapalong National High School. Maayong buntag, Sir Jerry. Right, Ma'am Michelle Fernandez, good morning Ma'am. MSS Cares, magandang buhay everyone. Have a fruitful day to all of us. Hashtag basta kapalong sulong, hashtag basta kapalong laging may K. Oy, meron tayong bagong hashtag for today. Well, teachers, again, don't forget to use our official hashtag for this or in this 5-day training. So ato adjong i-appeal perminti ang ato ang official hashtag because we are going to extend our celebration more online since we are to celebrate online naman jud, dili naman ta ka physical no kay murag lisod pa sa panahon karon. We are in COVID pandemic, so we are to embrace the new normal. We are to continue and we are to extend more our celebration online by using the official hashtag. Hashtag Sulo Kapis or hashtag Kapis LMS and hashtag Sulong Kapis. So ayaw jud kalimti og appeal sa inyong mga comment og whenever you post pictures in social media. Don't forget to include and use our official hashtag for this training. All right, Ma'am Martina Marin. Hello, ma'am. Good morning. Thank you so much for the very warm accommodation. Naapay pa free breakfast diri, ma'am. Daghan kayong salamat, ma'am. And thank you so much, Ma'am Marin, sa inyong kusog kaayo nga PLDT fiber. Tama ba ni? Murag promotion naman ni. All right. So, daghan pa. Aduna pa kita yung mga comment diha, controller. Daghan pa kaayo, naglibog na siya. Pero, of course, unya na po ng uban. So, that second batch karon naapay third, hantod pa ta, third lang. Joke lang. All right. So attendance once again is already open and it will be closed 12 or at exactly 12 in the or 12 noon. So it will be closed at 12 noon and another link will be given and we are going to provide another link for the afternoon session. So i-close jud na mo na ang attendance link in 10. Joke lang. So, at this juncture, may we have Dr. Manuel P. Vallejo, Education Program Supervisor in English.
To our Regional Director, Dr. Evelyn R. Talvero, our Assistant Regional Director, Dr. Maria Inesi Asuncion, to our CLMD Chief, Dr. Janet G. Veloso, to all chiefs of the regional office, functional divisions, our schools division superintendents, assistant schools division superintendents, all regional education program supervisors, CID chiefs of Division F, and to all LMS trainers in the learning areas, the regional technical working group and staff, and of course, the English participants. Once again, a bountiful and healthful day to all of us. Well, to start, on and in behalf of the Bureau of Learning Delivery and the Bureau of Curriculum Development, I would like to cascade to you regional trainers here in PowerPoint the presentation of the most essential learning competencies or MELCs in English for grades 1 to 12. Well, due to COVID-19, the Department of Education urgently prepared the Learning Continuity Plan, or LCP, that highlights on the shortened academic calendar, different delivery models, and identification of MELCs. And as we'll know that prior to the pandemic, the BCD started working on the identification of essential learning competencies in the past 18 months as part of its initiative in reviewing the intended curriculum, where Bureau specialists, academic experts, and field implementers worked collaboratively employing the consensus judgment approach. And these LCs were determined based on a US developed competency validation rubric intended to assure that learning competencies can reach the highest level of quality and comparability across schools, with adaptations being made to improve relevance by accounting the Philippine context. By the way, what is an ELC? It is aligned with national, state, and or local standards, frameworks. Then it connects the content to higher concepts across content areas. It is applicable to real-life situations. It is more important than other LCs, and it is not expected to be learned from parents or communities. Everybody is aware that we have various of learning competencies, as you can see in our curriculum guides. But then these 3,120 competencies are being converted into MELCs. In totality, there are 229. Like for instance, grade 1, current CG, 56, then MELCs, 12, and so on and so forth. So take note, we only have 229 for the MELCs. So now, in order to ensure that the grade level standards are maintained, the endurance criterion was used as the sole determiner for the MELC, which requires that the learning competency or LC be useful in lifelong learning. And to simplify that the word endurance means continuous and long lasting. Now, which LCs are considered enduring? First, those that work in close association with other competencies and other subjects, maintaining the curricular quality of integration. Example, for grade 4, quarter 1, identify different meanings of concept specific words, denotation, and connotation. Next, those that do not recur, recurrence is limited after key stage while observing spiral progression. Another competencies in which we could observe recurrence, meaning to say repetitive. Like for example, for key stage 2, for grade 6, quarter 2, the competency is detect biases and propaganda devices used by speakers. And then for key stage 3, grade 8, quarter 3, examine biases for a guest made by the author. So this does not mean that the teacher is prohibited from teaching an LC more than once. Following the principle of curriculum flexibility and differentiated instruction, he or she is strongly advised to put a focus and therefore repeat an LC should circumstance require. Ayan, so ibig sabihin, teacher factor pa rin as far as pedagogy or any other strategies. So as it requires, the teacher has really do something to modify just to reach out the learners. Another one, those LCs of the same nature that can be clustered together. As you can see the diagram, no? I mean, this illustration is very clear that among the many, these competencies are going to be clustered. Ayan. Okay, like this table here, that there are competencies, and then this encircled with the red marks, yep, are being studied until such time, no? Okay, this is actually the result of clustering. That is why it came out that the competency is to note significant details of various text types. In other words, from micro, nagiging macro siya. From many, nagiging ano na, one major thing. So that's it. Now, cluster competencies require unpacking and subtasking so that bigger or broader LCs may be broken down into manageable sub-competencies. Like, for example, use a variety of informative, persuasive, and argumentative writing techniques. This would entail a number of other competencies in order for it to be achieved. Ito na yung basihan niya. 1, making a strand. 2, gathering information from various sources. And the third one is citing sources of information. Now, how are the MELCs organized? So ito na. Okay, so you can see that there are competencies here that are being deleted, and the purpose of which is to be organized. Ayan. So that means for integration. And then the MELCs were arranged in a list based on cognitive demand, which makes way for better curriculum flexibility as teachers are able to freely integrate the learning competencies without the restrictions of horizontal alignment. Now for the grading period, so I would say from quarters 1, 2, 3, 4. So here are the learning competencies. English, grade 6. Ito na, so for quarter 1, identify real or make-believe fact or non-fact images. Then interpret the meaning suggested in visual media through a focus on visual elements, for example, lines, symbols, color, gaze, framing, and social distance. And then make connections between information viewed and personal experiences. And then for quarters 2, identify the purpose, key structural, and language of features of various types of informational factual text. Recognize evaluative word choices to detect biases and propaganda devices used by speakers. And compare and contrast content and materials viewed to other sources of information, just like print, online, and broadcast. And then now for the quarters 3, present a coherent comprehension report on different viewpoints of an issue and evaluate narratives based on how the author developed the elements. And then for the fourth quarters, compose clear and coherent sentences using appropriate grammatical structures. And these are the verb tenses, conjunction, and then adverbs. And then compose persuasive essay on self-selected topics. The schedule and time allotment of LCs in quarters are suggestive in nature. The duration of an LC is relative. What is required is that the list of competencies be achieved in the specified grade level. Another one is because content and performance standards in the English curriculum are described in such detail, the process of determining the MELCs required that some of these standards be forgone. And take note that we have four standards. We have the program, the grade level, the content, and the performance. Now let us have the walkthrough of the MELCs into three case stages. Now for case stage 1, that's for grades 1 to 3. Okay, grade level standards for grade 1. The learner listens for comprehension, speaks clearly, and uses appropriate expressions in talking about oneself, family, and other social context interactions. Grade 2. The learner listens critically to one two paragraphs, use appropriate expressions in varied situations, and then read text for pleasure and information, critically and meaningful thought units, responds properly to environmental prints like signs, posters, comments, and requests, and writes legibly simple sentences and messages in cursive form. And then for grade 3, the learner listens critical to get information from text heard, demonstrates independence in using the basic language structure in oral and written communication, and reads with comprehension. Okay, let's now check this illustration here that the learning competency from K to 12 English curriculum guide. So these are all called merged. Okay, this group of words that are blocked, yep, with the red marks. So these are merged and then converted into one. So the retained or replaced now as milk, ito na. So this becomes read phrases, short sentences, and short stories consisting of words, write short the a, the e, the o, and the ah. Then answer the who, what, and where questions about them. Again, this milk is retained, rephrased, basing from the merged LCs. Okay, next one is ito na. Another learning competency from K to 12 English CG marked as dropped. Use common expressions and polite greetings. Why is it dropped? There is justification of that. That during the curriculum review in the 2019, this is one of the LCs tagged as desirable and was therefore no longer retained as a MELC. So that was the justification of that. Another one, LC from K to 12 English CG retained as MELC. Review, reading, and writing short a, I, o, and a words in CVC pattern. So the justification goes this way. This is an example of an LC from the CG that is retained to ensure a smooth flow of transition from reading to writing. Thus, a review of the short sound is necessary. This will also be helpful in case not all the short sounds were covered in the previous grade level. Now let us have a walkthrough of the MELCs, and this time for Key Stage 2 from grades 4 to 6. Now for the grade level standards, grade 4, the learner listens critically to various text types and expresses ideas accurately in both oral and written forms, demonstrates confidence in the use of the language to meet everyday needs, and reads independently and gets relevant information from various text types. And then for grade 5, the learner listens critically to different text types, including news reports and other radio broadcasts, needs independently and gets relevant information from various text types, expresses ideas accurately and logically in oral and written forms, demonstrates interests in reading and confidence in the use of the language to meet various everyday needs. And then for the grade 6, the learner listens critically, communicates the feelings and ideas orally in writing with a high level of proficiency, and reads various text types, materials to serve learning needs in meeting a wide range of life's purposes. Now, again, out of many learning competencies, these are clustered into: use context clues to find meanings of unfamiliar words. Now, learning competency from K to 12 English CG considered drop, show willingness and enthusiasm in reading or listening to a literary text, and then the justification why this LC is dropped. All LCs under the attitude domain were deleted as this may be subsumed in another learning area, example ESP, that focuses on attitude affirmation. So when we say subsume, this is actually absorbed, no, into other LC. And this particular LC pala is on the other learning area, which is ESP. Another LC from K to 12, why is it retained as milk? Write or compose an editorial. The justification on this is the identified LC was considered as milk and therefore retained because it satisfied the endurance criterion, which states that a learning competency or LC should play a role in lifelong learning. In particular, given the cognitive demand of the LC, unpacking it would be necessitate or it would necessitate a number of other essential LCs, like for example, making a strand, developing arguments, supporting claims with evidence. Again, the highlighted word in here is endurance. So meaning to say, um, continuous, and the other term for that is long lasting. Now let's have a walkthrough of the marks for key stage 3 for grades 7 to 10. Now the grade level standards for grade 7. The learner demonstrates communicative competence through his/her understanding of Philippine literature and other text types for deeper appreciation of Philippine culture. And then for grade 8, the learner demonstrates communicative competence through his or her understanding of Afro-Asian literature and other text types for a deeper appreciation of Philippine culture and those of other countries. And then for grade 9, the learner demonstrates communicative competence through his or her understanding of British American literature, including Philippine literature and other text types, for a deeper appreciation of the Philippine culture and those of other countries. And for grade 10, the learner demonstrates communicative competence through his or her understanding of literature and other text types for a deeper appreciation of world literature, including the Philippine literature. Now, competencies now encircled with the red marks. Okay, the first one is use appropriate idiomatic expressions in a variety of basic interpersonal communicative situations. Since this LC style develops skills in employing a variety of interpersonal communication strategies, they merged into the milk. And another one, select an appropriate colloquial or idiomatic word or expression as a substitute for another word or expression. So competency for this is to employ a variety of strategies for effective interpersonal communication, as such, interview, dialogue, conversation, and many others. Now, this learning competency was retained. Okay, the competency goes like this: express one's beliefs, convictions based on the material viewed. Why is it retained? Due to its compliance to the endurance criterion. Expressing one's belief or conviction on material viewed is an indication that a learner has already established skills on making a stand taught in earlier grade level. Another one, these learning competencies were dropped due to recurrence. What are these competencies? Ito na, so listen for important points signaled by volume, projection, pitch, stress. Yep, same thing with. Parang nagkaiba lang doon sa sa first word, then followed by almost similar words. Note the changes in volume, projection, pitch, stress, intonation, juncture, and rate of speech. Another one, listen for important points. Okay, there's that volume, projection, stress, intonation. Then next is, yeah, they almost have the same words used here. And then these learning competencies were dropped due to recurrence. Ayan, due to repetition. So these competencies now are being subsumed in. That's why you have to employ now a variety of strategies for effective interpersonal communication. And then pasok na dyan ang interview, dialogue, conversation. Ayan. So, again, from dropping into subsuming. Ayan, tama ba ang aking term? So, the new competency now is to employ a variety of strategies. Okay. Now for case stage 4, the senior high school grades 11 to 12. So we have the course description with the course subject, the reading and writing for grades 11 and 12, the development of reading and writing skills as applied to a wide range of materials other than poetry, fiction, and drama. Okay. I want you to see the learning competencies. The first one, the learner now is to describe a written text as connected discourse. And then number 4, identifies properties of a well-written text as the organization, coherence, and cohesion, the language use, and the mechanics. You know, these LCs were merged into a modified LC since both develop skills on written text. So the final one now is evaluate a written text based on its properties as the organization, coherence, and cohesion, the language use, and mechanics. The competency goes this way explains how one's purpose is a crucial consideration in academic and professional writing. You know, this LC was dropped since it is already subsumed in the competency below. Thus, identifies the unique features of and requirements in composing texts that are useful across disciplines, like a book review or article critic, literature review, research report, project proposal, and position paper. Ayan, so to all participants. Ayan, so thank you for listening. Then if you have something to be emphasized, to be discussed, to be asked later on during the open forum. Okay, once again, thank you so much for listening. This is Manuel P. Vallejo, in charge of the English, or the regional focal person in English. Once again, good day, everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, Sir Manny, for very informative sharing. Daghan kaayo no og natunan ang ato ang mga teachers in Kapalong East District. So, thank you so much, sir. All right. So, padayon ta. Padayon ta sa pagbasa sa mga comment. Kay naay ni PM sa ako nga ngano daw wala pa daw nabasa ang ilahang comment. Alam mo Roga, ako di sadaan nila ani basig atngan ko sa gate unya dito. Anyway, ito na lang nako daan akong asa mi no, naami sa Central. Diba? So dito mi magpaapang kung naamay na subo, sakit sa ilahang dughan, sakit sa ilang kasing-kasing na wala sila nabasa. Basahon nato ng tanan karon. Hantod pa ta ani Friday, hantod pa ta Biyernes. So worry not, teachers. All right? So good ta, Ma'am Lynette Arangkana. Good morning to all. Maayong buntag, ma'am. Oy, nakalimot na siguro ang atong mga teachers no sa pagbutang o pag-appeal sa atong hashtag for today. So daghan kaayo og mga teachers nga nag-comment nga walay gipang butang ng mga hashtag. All right, so Ma'am Delina Ingar, good morning, watching from Clementa Efroyo Elementary School. Hello ma'am, good morning. Ma'am Belinda Andrino Sagittarius, good morning po sa lahat. Still watching dito, Cap East webinar, right? Magandang buhay sa lahat. Coming from Maria Teresa Barredo. Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am Karina Joy Bumatay Baldomar, good morning from Maniki Central. Ma'am Zenaida Del Rosario, good morning po, Ma'am Zen. Ma'am Aiko Alivar Promito, good morning from Davao 2 Elementary School. Windy May Timbogan Miranda, good morning everyone watching from Mabuhay Elementary School. Ma'am Emma Binasbas, hello, good morning everyone watching from Kapalong National High School. God bless us all. Hashtag Learn as One. So also, gamitin din po natin yung ating official hashtag po. Huwag kalimutan. Ma'am Almalin Almanzor Laxi, good morning everyone watching from DVYTES Kapalong East District. Ma'am Nekayin, diba yan? Nekayan. Good morning everyone from Benigno Q. Martir. Shout out to my co-teachers. Shout out. Ma'am Gina Palomata, hello and good morning from Swaon Elementary School. Ma'am Journaline Babanto Abaw Loreto. Good morning everyone. Maayong buntag Ma'am Journaline. Another one, Ma'am Mary Jane Almedora. Hello, happy morning everyone watching here from New Boholano Elementary School. Ma'am Sara Bernardino, blessed morning everyone watching here from Maniki Central. Good morning, Ma'am Sara. Marcos Pistoke Elementary School, good day everyone from Wow Marcos Teaching Force watching from our ICT room. Kaya sa Marcos na sila ICT room. Wala lagi mi ma'am. Joke lang. Sir Wilson Lara, hashtag Learn as One PH Kapalong National High School live now. Yes, sir. Live jud mi diri sa Kapalong National High School. Ma'am Soledad Malaki, hello, good morning, especially to all grade 1 teachers of Maniki Central. Hello, ma'am. Sir Ver Imata. Hello sir, good morning to all. Paki-shoutout Ma'am Paul sa mga teachers sa Davao del Norte Regional Sports Academy. Laban lang sa pag-prepare og modules. Ayaw pa stress. O, di ba? Galing po kay Sir Oliver Imata. Dili daw magpa-stress. #sulong Cap East. Thank you so much sir for watching. Grabe atong #1 fan dyan si Sir Oliver ba, no? Thank you so much Sir Ver Imata. Sir Jonel Mariano Elisan, good morning, watching from Pandulian Elementary School. Ma'am Judith Kadayona, good morning po, watching from Panabo City. Oy, nasa Panabo si Ma'am Judith, pero taga Cap East. Alright. Ma'am Adelaida Pil Ramos, Taliktik, watching you. Uy, nahadlok ma'am, nahadlok ko, watching you kayo Ma'am Adelaide. So hello ma'am, good morning. Sir Dan Esler, LPT. Uy, good morning. From Benigno Q. Martir National High School, bongga kaayo og profile picture nga ato nga mega diri. Dan Esler, Danica. Alright. Ma'am Judith Javines Regalado, good morning po, Cap East from Kilantang Elementary School. Ma'am Jamie Halalon Tipdas from Mabantao National High School. So karon na sunod ani siguro ugma damlag na naibayad ang atong greetings. Joke lang. Ma'am Rufina Kapala High, still watching from Kapalong National High School. Ma'am Rufina Kapala. All right, so don't forget, so mo ni ang bayad sa inyong greetings, no? Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button on our in our YouTube, also in our Facebook. Hit subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also click this live stream. Click like on this live stream kay murag ang ato ang attendees sir, ang pila ganito. Later na ako i-reveal. Ma'am Ramelisa Labrado Inog, hello, magandang buhay from Adelanto Elementary School. Ma'am Rhea Gretchen Miraflor Damian, LPT. Hello, Dams. Jollibee Agurang, pa-shout out ta sa atong mga gwapang maestra sa Gupitan IS ug sa atong principal Ma'am Mira. Makita pa ka ni Ma'am Paul, kita kaayo. Good morning teachers, maayong pagpaminaw. Ma'am Jean May Badyang. Hello everyone, good morning. Pa-shout out Ma'am Pauls. Ma'am Pauls. Sa ako ang mga kauban sa Tagasan Elementary School. Sir Jomar Madrigal, still watching from Banualay Elementary School. Shout out sa mong school head, Ma'am Zeneline Bitanga o mga kusgan ng mga kauban sa Banualay Elementary School. #edukalidad, #LMS, #kapalong sulong. Uy, nagkabali-bali mo lang atong hashtag sir, pero daghan kayong salamat mo sa pagrespeto sa paggamit sa atong hashtag. Pero balik ko na ako, mauni ang atong hashtag. Ito ma'am. #CapEastLMS and #SulongCapEast. Sir, mauday ito ang atong hashtag, sir. Alright, kana. Very good. Abdi kayo itong mga controllers diring dapita. Alright, #CapEastLMS, #SulongCapEast. Ayaw kalimti, mauni ang tama nga hashtag nato karon. Pero sir, salamat kayo sa imong paggamit sa hashtag. Saludo mi sa imo ha. Alright, at this juncture, dili kalimot sa ato ang attendance, sa katong wala pa naka-attendance of course, pwede pa po tayong mag-attendance. It will be closed at 12 noon. Another link will be provided in our or later on screen. So another link will be provided in the afternoon session. And don't forget to the recapitulation, Vislumino White Amondo Elementary School. All right, so the percentage of the attendance, pakikuhit, paki-PM ko sa mga maestra nga nag-leave na sa ato ang live stream nga wala na nakigduyog sa ato murag out of 600 pila ganito dapat ang attendees ma'am atong 610. So it is already flashed on screen. Makita nato ang percentage ato ang attendees. So 67.3 ang elementary school, 24.2 junior high school, and 8.5 senior high school. Day 1 in the afternoon, 64.1% elementary school, 27.9% junior high school, and 8% senior high school. So there are, in day one morning, there are 505 responses. And in the first day, in the afternoon, we had 527 responses. So at this time, day two, in the morning, 524 responses. And we have 65.8% in the elementary school, junior high school 26%, and 8.2% in senior high school. So mamahimong ato pang idasig ang ato ang mga kaubanan sa pagtutok o sa pagpabilin na pagpaminaw dinhi sa ato ang training. Kay murag nagkagamay ang atong viewers, kaganina naabot ta og 400, almost, or 200 na lang karon. Kaganina naabot og 400, murag ni half jud ta or sobra pa sa half ang ato ang attendees. Pero karon nahimo na lang 200, so ni-leave na siguro sila or nihinay ang data, pa-load na sad ta mga ma'am and sir. All right, so still attendance is available and open, and it will be closed at 12 or exactly 12 noon. Later, I will be reading the comments po na po, another batch of comments na po ang ato ang basahon. So dili magmasulubon kay ibasahon nato to atong mga comments unyang taon-taon. Right? All right. So at this juncture, we already gained a lot of knowledge and information on how to access the LMS. So karon, overview of MELC na santa, di ba? In different subject areas. So we are done with English and any other subject area. So karon, let us all welcome Dr. Renat M. Pakin, Education Program Supervisor in Math.
Okay, so I will now present the walkthrough with the MELC in mathematics. So we will start with subject that pervades life at any age and in any circumstance. Thus, its value goes beyond the classroom and school. Mathematics as a school subject, therefore, must be learned comprehensively and with much depth. So the twin goals of mathematics in the basic education levels 2 to 10 are critical thinking and problem solving. Critical thinking, according to Stephen and Paul, 1987, is the intellectual discipline process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, or evaluating information gathered from or generated by observation, experience, reflection, reasoning, communication as a guide to a belief and action. So on the other hand, mathematical problem solving is a way around to find solutions around a difficulty, around an obstacle, and finding a solution to a problem that is unknown. So these two goals are to be achieved with an organized, rigorous curriculum content, a well-defined set of high-level skills and processes, desirable attitude and values, appropriate tools, taking into account the different content of the Filipino learners. So there are 5 content areas in the curriculum adapted from the framework. We have numbers, number sense, measurement, geometry, patterns in algebra, and probability and statistics. So the specific skills and processes to be developed are knowing and understanding, estimating, computing, solving, visualizing and modeling, representing, communicating, conjecturing, reasoning, proving, decision making, implying, and connecting. So the following values and attitude are to be honed as well. We have accuracy, creativity, objectivity, perseverance, and productivity. So we recognize that the use of appropriate tools is necessary in teaching mathematics. So this includes manipulative objects, measuring devices, calculators and computers, smartphones, and tablets, PCs, and the internet. So let us move to the identification of the most essential learning competencies from our current curriculum guide, learning competencies. So the Department of Education conducted a curriculum review of the intended curriculum. So they map essential and desirable competencies. They identify the prerequisite knowledge and skills within the learning area. Analysis of conduct analysis of interconnectedness of prerequisite knowledge and skills among learning competencies across learning areas. So from the curriculum review of grade 2, second quarter, number 10, for competencies number 24, for example, 24 to 27, the four competencies are considered essential learning competencies. And how do we know that the competencies are essential? If that competency is what the students need, considered indispensable to building skills, to equip learners for the next grade level and for lifelong learning. So these were considered as essential. And because they were essential, of course, they have to undergo endurance criterion. As we can see from their identification of NELP, we have identified that only competency 24 and 27 satisfies endurance criterion. How do we know that the competency satisfies the endurance criterion? What do we mean by endurance? Okay. So endurance is the competency will remain with learners long after a test or unit or study is completed if it is useful beyond a single test or unit of a study. So we are also merging number 25 and number 26, that's the action taken. Because as you can see from the two competencies are related and may be harmonized, unified for a more focused development of the concept. Here, another example, we have curriculum review of grade 2 again. So for competencies number 28, 29, 30, 31. So only competency number 29 and 30 are considered essential. So the competency 28 and 31 were considered desirable. And upon identification of them, those desirable competencies were taken out as included as most essential competencies. So what left? Competency number 29 and 30, of which they are considered essential. How do we know that? How to determine that the competency is a desirable competency? If that competency will only enhance education, but will not be necessary in building foundational skills of our learners. So that is desirable competency. Another example for curriculum review of grade 6 measurement. Competency number 70, 1, 72, 73, 75, 76 were essential, and 74 and 77 were considered desirable. But during their identification, they also did not include and drop competency number 71 because it was identified that the learning competency is more of a teacher's action. How to use the MELT, the most essential learning competencies in mathematics. First, appraise the content standard each quarter of your grade level. The content standards guide you in tracking the learning content you focus per quarter. Plan the instructional activities based on performance standards, that is designing instructional activities tasks suited for the type of learning delivery modality you need. Contextualize the instructional task whenever necessary. Number three, examine the identified notes for each quarter. You have to remember that time routine is flexible because what is being prioritized is the development of math skills over competence in content knowledge. So the MELP is the learning goal for the quarter. And task is the MELP is a big chunk of a learning goal. That is why at the end of my presentation, we will be starting unpacking of competencies because there were also competencies that were of a big chunk of a learning goal. So let us compare the number of learning competencies in the original curriculum guide that we're using now and that we are presently using, and the essential learning competencies and the most essential learning competencies. For grade 1, we have current uh, curriculum guide, a total of 66 learning competencies, down to 62 considered as essential learning competencies, and we only have 38, the most essential learning competencies. So for grades 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, a total of 741 learning competencies. And we have only 657 essential learning competencies with a total of 543 identified as the most essential learning competencies. Let us compare also the number of competencies retained, dropped, merged from the original curriculum guide by grade level. As you can see, those grade level with the highest number of competencies retained is grade 9. Grade 9. And the most number of competencies are being merged and replaced, grade 1. The most number of competencies dropped is grade 5 and grade 6. So that's the comparison. Let us now have a walkthrough of a stage 1 test. So for mathematics grade 1, quarter 1, we have a total of 10 competencies identified as the most essential learning competencies because some of the competencies were merged, replaced, dropped. Like for example, for competencies number 1, number 6, 7, and 2 and 8 were merged and replaced. And competency number 4 was dropped. Number 12 and number 13 merged and replaced. 14 and 15 merged and replaced. So for mathematics grade 1 quarter 2, a total of 8 competencies identified as the most essential because learning competency 27 and 36 were dropped. 21 and also 22. So competency number 18, 19, 20, 23, 24, 25 were merged and replaced because they are related competencies. For grade 1 second quarter, was competency number 30, 31, 30. Those were merged and replaced, while 32, number 30 competency was dropped. For grade 1 quarter 3, we have a total of 12 identified most essential learning competencies because competency number 39, 40 were merged and replaced, and 41 and 42 were also merged and replaced. The competency number 48, 49 also were merged and replaced. For quarter 4, grade 1, a total of 8 competencies considered as most essential. Competency number 58, 59, and 60 were merged and replaced, while competency 61, 65, and 56 were dropped. For mathematics grade 2 quarter 1, we have a total of 14 most essential learning competencies because Competency number 1, 2 were merged. 7, 8 merged. 9, 10, and 11 were also merged. It is because competencies are related and some were subsumed in some of the competencies. Um, Competency number 16, 17, merge, phase. Competency number 18, 19, 20, 21 were merged and replaced, while competency number 22 was dropped. Quarter 2 of mathematics grade 2, we have 10 most essential learning competencies. Because learning competency number 28, 31, and 41 were dropped. Competency number 25 and number 26 were merged and replaced. For mathematics, it's a quarter grade 2. Competency number 32, 33 merged, phrase, 34, 35, 36 were also merged and different. Competency number 39 and 40 merged and phrase, which they were related. So we just move to quarter 3 of grade 2, total of 15 most essential learning competencies. Competency number 43 and 48 dropped. Competency number 51, 52 merged and reframed. Competency number 54, 55 merged and reframed. 58 dropped. For competency number 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, and 68 were all dropped. Because as you can see, the reason of dropping learning competencies were integrated in some artifacts. So for quarter 4 of mathematics grade 2, we only have 15 competencies, most essential, because competency number 70, 71 were merged and replaced. Competency number 72, 74 merged and replaced. 73 and 78 merged and replaced because they were related. 77, 79 again merged and replaced. While 83, 84, 80, while 83 and 84 were dropped. So for competency number 88, 89, 92, and 93, those competencies were dropped because because they observed that competency 88 and 89 were not appropriate for grade 2. So there's still the master reading and writing. So we have written from the action present. So for mathematics grade 3, quarter 1, we have most essential learning competencies at 15. While learning competency number 15 and 24, we drop competency number 5 and 6 merge and replace, 8 and 9 merge and replace, 13, 14 merge and replace, 19 and 20 merge and replace. For quarter 2 of grade 3, we only have 14 most essential learning competencies because learning competency number 36 and 45 were dropped. Learning competency number 25 and 26, 27 were all merged and replaced because they were related. So competencies number 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 merged and replaced. So competencies number 40 and 41 merged and replaced. So let us move to quarter 3 of mathematics grade 3. Total of 13 most essential learning competencies. Because competencies number 27, 49 were merged and replaced. 50 and 51, 52 were also merged and replaced, while competency number 6 was cut. It's integrated in the art subject. For mathematics grade 3, quarter 4, we have only 13 most essential learning competencies. Because competency number 63, 64 were merged and replaced. Competency number 65 was replaced. Competency number 58 and 69 merged and replaced. Competency number 71, 72, 74, those competencies were dropped. So let us now move to our walkthrough in stage 2 now. Let us start with quarter 1 of mathematics grade 1. For mathematics grade for quarter 1, we only have 14 most essential learning competencies. For the in the identification of those essential learning competencies, competency number 12 and 19 were dropped. Competencies number 3 and 5 were merged and replaced. Competency 14 and 15 merged and replaced. Competency number 20, 21 merged and replaced. For quarter 2, for grade 4, we have only 18 special learning competencies. Because from learning competency number 29 and 38 was dropped. 26, 7, 26, 27 were merged and replaced, while 30, 35 were dropped. Okay, so let us move to quarter 2. So the most number 45 were number 60, 66, and 67 were dropped. But quarter 4 of my grade 4, we only have 15 now. For 69, number 69, 26, 71, 23, 26, and 86 were all dropped competencies. For mathematics, grade 5, quarter 1, total only of 17, 75, most essential learning competencies. Because learning competency 8, 14, 15, 23, and 28 were dropped. Competencies number 1, 2, 3 were also dropped. Competencies number 9 and 10 merged and replaced. Competencies number 11 and 12 merged and replaced. 15 and 16 also merged and replaced. So quarter 2 of grade 5, total of 19 most essential learning competencies. Learning competency number 37 and 48 were dropped. Learning competency number 33, 35, 38, 43 were dropped because those competencies does not satisfy the endurance criteria. Learning competency number 45, 46, and 50 were also dropped because 46 was assumed in learning competency number 45 and also 50 was assumed in learning competency number 49. Let us move to mathematics grade 5, quarter 3, with a total of 21 most essential learning competencies. For competency number 61, for competency number 64, 66, and 78 were dropped. Mathematics grade 5, quarter 4, total of 18 learning, most essential learning competencies. Learning competency 85, between 97, 107 were dropped. Learning competency 82, 88 also were dropped. Learning competency 81, 95, and 98 also were dropped. Mathematics 6, quarter 1, a total of 17 most essential learning competencies. Learning competency number 3, 6, 9, 12, 17, and 25 of grade 6 were part were dropped. Learning competency number 18, 19 merged and replaced. Learning competency number 20 and 21 merged and replaced. Quarter 2 of grade 6, total of 17 most essential learning competencies. Competency number 27, 29, 32, 36 were dropped, while competency number 41 and 42 merged and replaced. Competency number 44 and 45 merged and replaced. Quarter 3 of grade 6, a total of 15 most essential learning competencies. Because learning competency number 61, 74, and 27 were dropped. Learning competency number 67, 71 dropped. 49, 51 merged and replaced, while 53 and 54 were dropped. So for quarter 4 of grade 6, a total of 12 learning competencies. Competency number 78 dropped. Number 79 and 80 merged and replaced. 82 dropped. 84 and 89 dropped. So let us now move to our walkthrough of junior high school mathematics. Now, mathematics grade 7, quarter 1, total of 15 most essential learning competencies. For competency number 1 and 2, the action taken was to merge and replace. while competency number 3 and 4 also merge and rephrase, 15 and 19 merge and rephrase. For quarter 2, we only have identified 16 most essential learning competencies. We have competency number 20 and 21 dropped, competency number 25 and 36 merge and rephrase. Competency number 26 and 27 and also 29 were all merged and refreshed because the learning competencies having the same mathematical focus and foundational skills are merged, mastered, and refreshed. Competencies number 35 and 37 merged and refreshed. For quarter 3 of grade 7, we only have 11 most essential learning competencies. Um, there were no drops, nor merged and replaced competencies. For quarter 4, um, only competency number 53 was dropped. So about grade 8, quarter 1, we only have a total of 18 most essential learning competencies, with competency number 9 and 10 merged and rephrased, competencies number 19 and 20 merged and rephrased. Mathematics grade 8, quarter 2, a total of 16 most essential learning competencies. Because 21 and 22 learning competencies were merged and rephrased, while 25 dropped, 31 and 32 were merged and rephrased. Quarter 3 of grade 8, total of 8 most essential learning competencies. No changes. No changes for quarter 3 of grade 8. Quarter 4 of grade 8, we have only 10 most essential learning competencies. So no changes. No action taken. You can see um from the slides. So math grade 9, quarter 1, we have 16 identified most essential learning competencies. No change. No changes. No, there were no all of the competencies were most essential. So mathematics grade 9, quarter 2, we have only 11 most essential learning competencies because 21 dropped. Okay, so for mathematics grade 9, quarter 3, we have only 12 most essential learning competencies because competency number 29 was dropped. So how about quarter 4? Quarter 4 has only 6 most essential learning competencies without change. So mathematics grade 10, quarter 1, we have only identified 12 most essential learning competencies because competency number 3 and 4 were merged and replaced. Competency number 7 dropped. Competency number 8 and 9 merged and replaced, while competency number 10 dropped. Competencies number 13 and 16 merged and replaced. 17 dropped. For quarter 2 of grade 10, total of 12 identified most essential learning competencies. Because competency number 20 was replaced, competency number 27 dropped, 31 and 32 merged and replaced. Quarter 3 of grade 10, total of 10 most essential learning competencies. Because 34 and 38 learning competencies were dropped. Quarter 4 of grade 10, total of only 6 most essential learning competencies. So let us now have an overview of our senior high school mathematics subject. So for senior high school mathematics subject, general mathematics, statistics and probability, business mathematics. While for STEM courses, we have pre-calculus, basic calculus. As we can see from the table, for general mathematics, we have only 63 learning competencies from our current curriculum guide, while we identified only 58 essential learning competencies and down to 54 identified most essential learning competencies. For statistics and probability, 71 was from the current curriculum guide, while only 65 identified as essential and 37 as most essential. For business mathematics, 45 from the curriculum guide, and 35 the most essential learning competencies. Pre-calculus, 49, and 30 most essential. Basic calculus, 39 from the current curriculum guide, learning competencies are only 32 considered as most essential. If we also compare the retained merged and those learning competencies from the original PG, we can see from the graph that the same competencies of general mathematics is the highest percentage from all the five subjects, while business mathematics has the highest merging and continuous rate. And the calculus is the highest percentage of top competencies. So let us now move to our workflow of core subjects, um, core math subjects, and business math. So let us start from general mathematics part 1. For general mathematics part 1, we only have a total of 30 identified most essential learning competencies. Competencies number 11, 17, 25, 24, 29 were all mathematics quarter 2, general mathematics, total of 24 identified most essential learning competencies. Competency number 49 was dropped, while 53 and 54 were merged and replaced. 52, 63 dropped. For quarter 3 of statistics and probability, total of 27 most essential learning competencies. Because competency number 5, number 12, number 24, number 25, 27 were dropped because the content knowledge is not widely used in conducting student research in senior high school. Competencies number 28, 30, 31 also dropped. Competencies number 33, 34, 35 dropped. Competencies number 37, 38, 39 also were dropped. And also 40 and 41. So let us now move to quarter 4 of statistics and probability. Total and 24 most essential learning competencies. Yes. Competency number 37 dropped. Quarter 1 in business mathematics, a total of 15 most essential learning competencies identified. While competency number 1 was dropped, competencies number 2 and 3 were merged. Competencies number 1 dropped, 2 and 3 were merged and replaced. So for competencies number 2, replaced. Competencies number 5, number 10, replaced. For quarter 2 of business mathematics, we only have 20 most essential learning competencies. Because competency number 13 replaced. Competency number 3 dropped. Competency number 1, 3, 4 were all dropped. Competencies number 6 and 7 were merged and replaced. So let us now move to our walkthrough of pre-calculus and basic calculus notes. For pre-calculus quarter 1, total of 15 most essential learning competencies identified. With competency number 4, 7, 10, 13 were dropped. Competencies number 16, 17, 18, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 were dropped. Competencies of quarter 2 identified as most essential competencies is 15. So competency number 6 replaced, competency number 8 replaced, competencies 10 and 11, 12 merged and replaced, while competencies number 13, 14, 15, 17, 18 were all dropped. Competencies number 19, 20, 21, 22 also were dropped. For quarter 3 of basic calculus, a total of 22 identified most essential learning competencies because 13 competency was replaced. Competencies like 10 and 11, 10, 11, 12 were all dropped, including competency number 5. Competency number 6 was replaced. Competency number 7 replaced. Competency number 8 dropped. For quarter 4 of basic calculus, total of only 11 most essential learning competencies. Because competency number 3 was rephrased, 4 also was rephrased, 5 rephrased, competency number 6 dropped, competency number 7 rephrased, and competency number 10 dropped. So let us now move to unpacking of milk. Unpacking of milk. Why is it that we need to unpack the most essential learning competencies? Because we ascertained that some of those identified learning competencies were of a big chunk. So probably those competencies we have of different levels. So that should be unpacked. So why we need to unpack? Because there are some competencies that are too ambiguous, too broad, or too narrow, and will reflect different kinds of goals and simultaneously. In unpacking the competencies, we have to consider knowledge, skill, core message, the value, and its little paper, the unpacking to pass analysis of the content standard. So in unpacking of the competencies, it's important that you have to consider the teaching and the learning content. Consider the learner's characteristics. Consider let us also determine the required skills, knowledge, and incorporate into delivery and assessment. Determine the dimensions of competitive and also incorporate in delivery and assessment. Determine the key competencies, employability skills, and incorporate in delivery and assessment. Determine also the appropriate and engaging learning activity. So let us have a very simple example of unpacked learning competencies. For grade 3 or tier 1 mathematics, for example, competencies number 5, number 7, number 11, number 10, were of a big chunk competency. So we split the competencies from competency for number 5 into two sub-competencies. For compares using relation symbols and orders in increasing or decreasing order, 4 to 5 digit numbers up to 10,000, we splitted. We splitted the competency into comparing numbers at both 10,000 using relation symbols and ordering 4 to 5 digit numbers in increasing or decreasing order. Also, competency number 7 was split into two sub-competencies, also for 11 and number 15. So it is important that to split. However, we also need to consider the time allotment each of the competencies. So let us now move to the sample lesson exemplar in mathematics. So I choose the first quarter of grade 8 mathematics that is to be done week 7 with a duration of 3 days. So in the lesson this part was clearly presented the content standard, the performance standard, the learning competency and its code, the key concept, the learning objectives, is very important. Number 2, the content, and also specify the references. Number 3, the learning procedures. So for learning procedures, we have part 1, the preliminary activities. Preliminary activities include prayer, greeting, yes, preliminary activities will start with prayer, greeting, checking of attendance, and reminders. Part of the preliminary activities is a drill, review, and motivation. Second part of the learning procedure is the developmental activity. Developmental activity includes the activity, the analysis, the abstraction, the application. So for part 4 is the evaluation. Part 5, agreement, alignment. Part 6, the reflection. And also do not forget to answer and input the data like numbers, number of learners who earned 80% in the evaluation. The number of learners who require additional activities for remediation who scored below 80%. And also try to answer the following questions. Did the remedial lessons work? And also include the number of learners who have caught up with the lesson. Number of learners need to continue to remediation. And also which of my teaching strategies work well and why did those strategies work? Include also at the bottom part of your definition part your name, of course. It's your hard work. You have to put your name as a writer, include the school and the division. So if you are putting some illustration, some figures in your lesson exemplar to avoid um, copying some illustrations from the internet, from the book, or from other sources, ask for the help of some illustrators. But you have to also include the name of the illustrator, including the school and the division. That's the lesson in this line.
All right. Cap is teachers. Nandyan pa ba kayo? Kaway-kaway. All right. So, grabe no? Grabe kayo ang atong mga information of overload na jud. Tungod sa kadaghan na gihatag sa ato. But of course, teachers really can manage those information overload given by our speakers for this webinar. At this juncture, we are to reveal the early bird awardees in the day 2 or the second day of learning management system training of Kapalong East District. All right, so in the elementary level, please flash it on screen. Our dear controllers, mga maabtiko natong mga controllers. All right, thank you so much. Congratulations. Elementary level early bird awardees, Ma'am Dayan May Olmedo of Pandulyan Elementary School, Sir Rowan Shane Yagonia of Langan Elementary School, Sir or Ma'am Juvimi Tagpuno of Marcos Estoque Elementary School. Congratulations, ma'am. Congratulations to Ma'am Jean M. Doroni of Gupitan IS. And Ma'am Rosemary Tadle of Patel Elementary School. Congratulations. You are our Day 2 Early Bird Awardees. in elementary level. So let's proceed to the secondary level. Please flash it on screen. Our early bird awardees in junior high school level. Congratulations, Ma'am Jollibee Agurang of Gupitan IS. Followed by Ma'am Genevieve Avellana of Gupitan IS. Grabe yung taga Gupitan, no? Dasig kaayo. Sayo kaayo sila bisan pa man sa kalayon sa ilahang eskwelahan. Pero karon ara day sila sa ilahang balay. Sir Ian Ray Rosilio of Kapalong National High School. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations, Early Bird Awardee, Ma'am Mylene M. Julio of Kapalong National High School. Congratulations also to Ma'am Sir Joy Mamado of Langan Elementary School. Sila ang atong mga Early Bird Awardees sa junior high school level. Congratulations, everyone. Next, we have from Senior High School Early Bird Awardees. Sa Walay. Alright, thank you so much. Congratulations, Sir Herrick O. Agustin of Kapalong National High School. So, taga Kapalong National High School, tanan, no? Ma'am April Joy Kylo of Kapalong National High School. Ma'am Donette Orito of Kapalong National High School. Sir Jerry Alquizar of Kapalong National High School. And Ma'am Shane Hosol of Kapalong National High School. Right? Congratulations to our early bird awardees, mga dasig kaayo nato nga mga maestra ug maestro no na wala joy uas sa paminaw sa ato ang webinar or training. Daghan na kaayo taog mga natun-an ani. Reminders for the recap this afternoon. Don't forget Vislumino White Amondong Elementary School. So, kahibalumi na andam na jud ang taga Vislumino White Amondong Elementary School sa paghatag og recap later before ta mag-start sa ato ang afternoon session. And 12 noon is fast approaching, so attendance will be closed in joke lang. 1 p.m. 1 p.m. mag-close ang attendance in the morning session. So, is it real? Real na real? TWG, 1 p.m. Alright, so 1 p.m. dito confirmed na 1 p.m. ang mag-close ang ato ang attendance this morning. So, in the afternoon session. So, lahi na po na link ang ato ang sudlan no, for the attendance in the afternoon session. Again, you can install a QR scanner so that it would be easy for you to track or to fill out your attendance. So, open forum at exactly 1 p.m. So, our open forum will be at 1 p.m. So, thank you so much for staying with us in the LMS training on the second day in Kapalong East District. So, thank you. See you this afternoon at exactly 1 p.m. Have a good lunch, everyone. Bye.